is going on? What is going on? How are we doing? Is Jesus coming back? Well, I don't know. I don't know. That's what I was told. I was told that he may have came back or the prediction was wrong. But what's going on, Butterfly Jones, Mayo, and Conshonery in the building? I do have TikTok live today, guys. Just want y'all to know that. I am on motherfucking TikTok. I'm not on TikTok right now, but I will be streaming there as well. One of these dogs are in trouble. I gotta check my cameras. They took a whole box of goddamn cheesy bread. Now I was wondering what the fuck that sound was. Okay, let me check this camera, see what dog did it. These dogs gonna lie. These dogs gonna lie. But one of these dogs ate a whole box of cheesy bread. Let me see which one of you motherfuckers who did it. Nope, not outside cameras. What the fuck? Oh, there you go. I don't know which dog it was. So I gotta go back in the thread and find out what dog. You think it was the lab? He was the last one with the box. I'll give you that. He was the last one with the box. And then fucking dogs, man. Jeez. Now let me go to events. Yeah, one of these stupid ass dogs. Well, they ain't stupid. They got what they wanted. And ate that whole motherfucking box of motherfucking cheese bread. Absolutely whole box. Let's see. What up, man? Hold on, let me make myself smaller. There you go. No, that wasn't that. It wasn't that one. Mayo, one of these dogs ate a whole box of goddamn cheese bread.
Well, you should have enough cameras to figure out who it was.
That's what I'm taking. Yeah. Oh shit. Oh, I know who
See,
it
I
was.
think one of the tall ones and one of the short one conspired together.
Oh, absolutely, because it's sitting there right there. Oh yeah, that was good old Rico started it off. Good old Rico started it off, boy. You are a bad dog.
he trying to set up the lab. That's what it is.
Absolutely, he was. Look at this. These motherfuckers ain't shit, boy. Oh, I guess I can't tell her she has that. Anyway, what's going on? Maybe they all guilty. No, there's been two that's been sitting in the same spot since I got in here, and that is Remy and Ruger. Remy and Ruger stayed in the same spot, haven't moved. I tried to get them up and use the bathroom. They said, "Fuck you, asshole. We ain't going nowhere." But
They want
these,
to make sure they're cleared first.
yeah, absolutely. I walked right by them while they were eating it. That is insane. You motherfuckers. Oh, these dogs ain't shit. The two of them. The two of them. A little short fucker and a tall fucker. Anywho, what's going on, Conshonery? What's up, Butterfly Jones? John the Baptist, what's going on today? We have, well, first off, I went to go play golf today. And boy, wasn't a long drive. Dude, Mayo, I don't know what the fuck happened to me. My body broke down on the back nine. The back nine, my motherfucking body broke down because I couldn't hit straight to save my goddamn life.
It's probably your leg.
Yeah. I mean, it was bad. It was horrible. The front nine, I was hitting everything over 300 yards. I was hitting everything over 300 yards. I was booming that bitch, and then it just shing, 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 it just went everywhere. I think I lost about 15 balls on the back nine.
Damn.
It was bad. It was horrible. But we got through it. We got through it, and I wanted to watch what I sent you, Mail, but I can't fucking find it unless I go. Let me go through this other shit.
I can resend it to you if you want.
Uh,
Talk about the brick stuff.
yeah. Because a lot of people don't know shit about shit. There you go. Wasn't that long. And then we're gonna get into dinosaurs when Kingdom Minute comes in here. We talk about dinosaurs. All right, there we go. Yeah, that's it. That is it. All right, let's get into it. So we got some topics to cover today. So the topics I've covered today is prophecies and what is his name? Edgar Cayce. Do you know who that is? Mayo?
No, sir. No, sir.
Yeah, he predicted World War II and all the rest of these shits.
Yeah. Is he still alive?
No, he did. He did.
Oh, then he can't predict World War III.
Oh, he did. Now, so I don't know. They call them the sleeping something. Sleeping something. I can't remember. But Mayo, what if you run across this if you're golfing? There was 4 snakes on the course today.
Yeah.
4 snakes for one. Which is common for where I went. I went to Southampton to play golf today. It wasn't that bad. The greens were horrible. The greens were horrible. But where is it at? Let me see. Nope.
What kind of snakes were they?
I don't know. They're just probably little. They're black snakes, so I don't know what the fuck they were. But
black racers?
Probably.
They the good ones. They eat rattlesnakes.
What if you got to play the ball right there?
Now that motherfucker? No. He can have that Titleist.
Yo, the golf course I went to 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago? It was massive gators in that bitch too. I said, "Oh no, y'all can have that shit. Golf ain't that important. Golf ain't." How many did you shoot? Nah, I ain't shoot none of them today. I just watched them go by. That motherfucker was chasing the fucking bunny rabbit. It's crazy. It was weird. Stop gonna make me fuck him up. Mayo, I got TikTok live, sir. Oh, it's going down.
Oh God.
They shouldn't have let me get TikTok live. I'm gonna be doing some TikTok so I can block some people since people are gonna block me. Last night I got blocked by six people within 15 minutes. Holy shit.
Yeah, TikTok is not a free speech platform, sir.
No, it is not. Not even close. It is not.
Oh.
I was like, this is some bullshit. How you gonna ask for people, MAGA people to come up? Well, I couldn't join the panel because I didn't have over 200 subscribers. But it was a shit show.
How's your subscriber count today?
Oh, it's magnificent.
Outstanding, sir. Outstanding. I'm glad to see your channel grow.
Yeah, it grew overnight, boy. I tell you what,
man.
I don't use TikTok now, but I know I can go get on live now. Goddamn it, I knew that for it. I know that for a fact. Yes, sir. But so if y'all don't know about what bricks is, we're gonna discuss it a little bit. But
ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Man in America. I'm your.
That is really loud. I think it's a pretty. Mayo, do you think it was a pretty decent breakdown of what's going on so far?
Yeah. It's not the. It really doesn't give the history of bricks and the beginning of it all, and all.
No.
But like I said, bricks is eventually going to fall apart itself too.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to work well together. especially not those two.
Shit, no, those three, because they got Iran in there too now.
Yeah, but Iran doesn't have much power though.
Now they don't. Right now they don't. They
Yeah.
will eventually. They will eventually.
Not until they take Saudi.
I don't think Saudi gonna give it up that easy yet.
I
They
don't
still
think
got
Saudi's
America.
gonna have a choice.
They still got America backing them.
Not for long.
Not for long. They didn't re-up, so they don't get protection,
Nope.
huh?
Nope. We need to pull our navies from
across the fucking
in the
land.
Middle East.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
This is a pretty good breakdown of what's going on with BRICS and what's going on with America, the petrodollar, and the new money that these people want to talk about. Well, not talk about the new payment system of BRICS, which I thought was actually interesting. I thought it was interesting because you don't hear it. You don't hear it at all across the media. They want us to be worried about Hunter Biden and the non going to jail that's going to happen to him and everything. Yeah. Yes, Jesus is coming back, sir. Sir, I have a theory. After I watched that prediction thing, I'm gonna say it like this. I just want you to think of this like this, John the Baptist. What if Jesus has already came back as a child and now he's over 21 years old right now? Think about it, because Jesus was supposed to come back in the year 2000, supposedly, according to predictions. What if he was implanted into a female and now is a grown adult? Think about it. Just hear me out.
Yep.
That's all I'm gonna give you for right now. Right now, we're gonna go on Bristow.
What if he came back and said, "Fuck it, these people ain't worth it"?
That's something too. That is something too. I can't believe these little fuckers ate a whole box of cheesy bread. God damn it! It's the cheesy bread with the pepperoni on the inside too.
Oh, that's the good stuff, man.
Oh, fucking asshole.
They gonna have the shits later.
Oh yeah. Look at this little fat ass dog. Wait, let me see where my camera is. Look at this little motherfucker. Y'all see him?
Yeah.
Little fucking asshole. Fucking with other dogs. I can't stand. Okay, John the Baptist. What's taking him so long? The Bible doesn't say anything about that time. Hey, we're gonna get more into that later.
Your host, Seth Holhouse. As you know, if you've been watching this show, one topic I've been consistently covering is the financial battle between the BRICS nations, right? Primarily, Russia, China, India, some of these powerhouse nations, in addition to all the other nations that are joining, Middle Eastern countries, Turkey, etc. What they're doing in their economic war against the Western financial system that is fundamentally tied to the US dollar, the fiat currency that we know of as the US dollar, that has maintained its dominance in the world as the world reserve currency, primarily because it is the petrodollar. It's a 50-year-old agreement that basically says, hey, Middle East, if you trade oil in our US dollar, we'll protect your crimes and we'll protect your oil routes and we'll do all kinds of stuff with our military, which we're funding by overprinting the dollar insanely, that is propped up because you're making people trade oil in the US dollar, creating global demand for it. It's all supply and demand. It's how currencies work. Something absolutely significant and historical has just happened. And this is such an important episode for you to tune into, folks, because just yesterday, right on Sunday, the 50-year agreement that Saudi Arabia, one of the world's largest oil producers, had with the United States, the 50-year petrodollar agreement came to an end. Now, the question is, was Saudi Arabia going to renew that? And they said no. So the petrodollar as we know it is officially over. Now, these things don't happen and you don't see instant effects.
All right, I'm going to stop it right there. How many of y'all knew that shit? That's still an important, to me, that's an important tidbit that no one is talking about. If anything, that part right there is important to how much money we spend, especially as we make more deals and to spend more money in our own country. I mean, especially with all the entitlements that we give away. There's no free will, only perception of free will. Okay. Con free will is a verb. It's not a noun. Okay. All right.
Say you go to this store tomorrow and you can't buy a loaf of bread with $100. No, it's not like that. But this is kicking off a series of significant events. Now, simultaneously, what we've had happen is that the BRICS nations have officially announced the development of their new currency, which is also massive. And the fact that this is happening within a couple of day window of Saudi Arabia rejecting the petrodollar is absolutely significant and not just a coincidence. You've also got the development of mBridge, which we're going to be getting into today, which is a global payment system that will help basically tie in all these central bank digital currencies, potentially backed by gold, which is also significant. So, folks, this is going to be a wild episode, and the ramifications, this might seem like some financial news, right? Might be like, oh, okay, you're talking about what's happening with the dollar. This right here is what underpins almost everything that we know in our lives, the success that we've had here in America, the beautiful, lavish life that we've lived here. We want for very few things here for most people. Even the people that are on poverty level, we're still, a lot of them still have cell phones and TVs and everything. We're not, living in a third world country, though it feels like it sometimes. But what we've achieved here in America is so, so tied to the fact that our dollar has had global demand because of this petrodollar agreement, right? So this is what has propped up our currency. It's what's allowed the Fed to print untold amounts of US dollar. It's about what's allowed us to keep raising the debt ceiling because there's just been this demand for the US dollar. Well, folks, this is a major, major blow to that demand. And honestly, and we'll get into it in today's episode, but I would expect that we're going to start seeing countries really starting to back away from the dollar, start dumping treasuries. And what you're going to see have happening at the same time as that is our people and our government freaking out. Absolutely. Now, one thing I'll tell you is that if you go to CNBC, right, one of the biggest financial news websites is talking to your average mainstream person in America that wants to understand what's happening in the markets, guess what's not anywhere to be found on CNBC? Nope, there's no mention of the petrodollar. There's no mentions of BRICS or mentions of the BRICS currency system or Putin. So you can see that most people in America, unfortunately, are going to be blindsided by this turn of events because people aren't being told what's really happening. And what's really happening in this global financial system is absolutely significant. So, folks, joining us today is my good friend Kirk Elliott. Please enjoy tuning into this interview because it's going to be a very important one. Kirk, it's great to have you back on. And boy, is there some big news for us to discuss today. So thanks for being here.
I mean, monumental paradigm shifting things that we're going to talk about. I mean, it's
stupid.
I don't know, quite honestly, Seth, if I've seen any financial news that ultimately is going to have a larger impact than what we're going to talk about.
I agree. And me saying that is different than you saying that. Someone who's lives in the world of economy and has a PhD in economics and understands this exactly. So let's just jump right in. You and I have been talking about BRICS, the petrodollar, all this for quite some time now. So let me just read this because the news speaks for itself. Saudi Arabia's petrodollar exit, a global finance paradigm shift. So, and this is just out today. It says the financial world is bracing for a significant upheaval following Saudi Arabia's decision not to renew its 50-year petrodollar deal with the United States, which expired on Sunday, 9 June 2024. So this is exactly what we've been talking about, that the petrodollar, the dollar as the world reserve currency, has its value because of global demand, and global demand is because it's the petrodollar. And we've seen a lot of these countries, especially in the Middle East, shying away from the dollar, opening up oil and gas trades in, Chinese yuan, the ruble, the Indian rupee. But that's huge news. What do you make of this, Kirk?
So the reason why I think this is so massive is look throughout time. I don't think you and I can remember a time when every single year at the end of the fiscal year, the U.S. government didn't come up for a vote to raise the debt ceiling. Right. So easy decision for politicians to make because
I mean, when's the last time they didn't raise the debt ceiling?
like the 80s, I think.
That's what I'm saying. So I don't know what the fuck. Yeah, this is like I said it before. This shit's going downhill because they're not gonna have more money to motherfucking keep printing. Well, they're gonna make more money to keep. They're gonna keep printing more money,
Yeah,
regardless. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I sent you that thing on the actual cost, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if we would have kept our money in real money, no. And
Not fiat.
one thing I do want to say about this
Mm-hmm.
is every current currency is a fiat currency
Absolutely.
around the world.
Absolutely. Because they took on the stupid petrodollar currency type shit, which I think is pretty stupid anyway.
Well, no, it's
But I
because
think,
they didn't have the gold supplies to build their economies.
yeah, but I think there are countries in Africa that were moving to gold, going back to the gold standard. But I can't remember which one. I read it a couple of months ago. Well, at least they were trying to go back to the gold standard.
Zimbabwe was, but remember, Zimbabwe just came out of having $1 trillion bill.
Yeah. I gotta look it up. I gotta look it up. I know there was a couple of countries in Africa that said they wanted to go back to the gold standard. And matter of fact, they already said they're not using they're not. If you fucking are using the American dollar, it's not as it's like pennies to them. That's what they said, or some stupid shit like that. That shit was funny.
But I bet you go over there today with $1, and you're gonna have people fighting for it.
Well, that's what they said. It's not gonna be worth shit. That's what they said.
Oh yeah, yes. In the future, right now it currently still is though.
God damn, Mayo, you're making me forget what the fuck these motherfuckers said. Now I gotta look this shit up. But I'm gonna go ahead and play this shit because I remember what the fuck this motherfucking African motherfucker said. I was like, well, that's a good thought, but right now, since I didn't know the petrodollar was fucking was 50-year shit was up. I didn't know that. I thought that was very fucking interesting. And it's interesting considering Saudi Arabia, we saved their ass on every goddamn thing. That these motherfuckers gonna say fuck you.
But this is the outcome of what Obama wanted to do.
Yeah.
He wanted to lessen America's influence over the world.
Which I can agree with.
Stated goal.
Yeah. I can agree. I'm sorry. I'm fucking with my fucking screen.
Oh, you good?
My other screen's not coming up. Shut the hell up, motherfucker.
They've been playing the long game.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And doing it well.
Go and play this so people don't get bored, man.
All right, I was trying to plug it in. Okay, I got it now. All right. All right, now I'm lost. Nope, not that screen. Oh, there it is.
Because we have a printing press that has a built-in demand for our currency. Doesn't matter if we treat it like monopoly money. It doesn't matter because we could print, and there's always going to be demand for US dollars because oil settlements are traded in US dollars. That's the petrodollar. And you go back to the 1970s when it became the petrodollar, and it was used as a mechanism to provide stability to the global marketplace and oil settlements, right? That's why they did it. That's also why you have a reserve currency, is for the same reason. So transactions between countries have some kind of stabilizing force, or else it's just willy-nilly all over the place. So what currency are we going to use, right? So that's why you have a reserve currency, and that's why you have a petrodollar. So pretty much in one fell swoop, the US lost both of them this year, right? So the reserve currency status, it's not like they've actually renamed a Bretton Woods 4 or something like that and named it yet. But for all intents and purposes, with 70% of the world's population, part of the BRICS nations, and they started to trade in their own currencies back and forth to de-dollarize the world. Well, now taking it one step further, they want to have their own common native BRICS currency, right? And to actually amplify matters, it's like you can't just come up with a currency and say, we're going to be the world's reserve currency. No, the US dollar still was, right? So they have to eliminate the dollar standard. That's what this decision just did, which is why I say it's so monumental, because now when it comes time to raise the debt ceiling, they're going to have to think twice.
No, they
It's
don't.
like, do we raise it? Do we devalue the dollar even more? What's that going to do for international demand? Boy, we're going to have to raise interest rates because that's inflation. What are we going?
That's gonna happen regardless. So for him to, like, when I heard him say that, I'm like, they're gonna. That's one thing I know about this United States government. They're not gonna go back on any money at all. They're not gonna put those fucking cannonballs in the fucking on the fucking shelf and wait for shit to get better. They're gonna continue to spend, no matter what side it is. They're gonna continue to spend, and that's what they do. Inflation is going to go back through the roof again because it didn't hit a bottom. And the reason why it didn't hit a bottom, because it kept spending. They kept printing. So they're going to continue. What do you think, Mayo?
Well, they can only do that because treasuries continue to sell. They're not going to sell.
Used to.
They're not. Yeah, but they're not going to sell in the future.
Yeah, I mean, look at
Japan. Worse now.
Look at Japan. Japan took America's model, and they're really in bankruptcy state right now.
Yeah,
and they can't. Their bonds that they're selling right now for themselves are worth damn near pennies. I mean, ain't no one buying Japan's debt no more.
No, and nobody's going to be buying ours either.
Exactly, and that's the dangerous part, because all they're going to do is continue to keep spending, whether someone buys it or not.
Yeah, but this has happened before, Tom.
Really? When?
The Great Depression.
Oh well, that's okay.
Austerity measures are coming.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It's gonna come part. They're gonna have to make someone whole. I've been suffering with what? Okay, I don't know what the fuck that is. A lot of reading. But all right, let's continue.
Gonna do, right? Every time they have a spending bill, some kind of an omnibus spending package, anytime they decide they've got Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, women, infant, children program, food stamps, any entitlements, or Department of Defense spending, or infrastructure, or you name it, we now have to think about it, which they should have always thought about it. I mean, let's be real, but when you have built-in demand for the currency, politicians simply just didn't for decades. The world is about to change with this pendulum shifting moment. And this is, I believe, when Putin said back in August of last year that he's going to de-dollarize the world, that's the BRICS objective and it's irreversible. I think he knew that this day was coming, right? Because they were talking,
I mean, why wouldn't he know that?
BRICS nations about adding United Arab Emirates, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Ethiopia, Argentina, Iran, right? They were talking about that. And so now, as of last week, Turkey wants to be admitted into the BRICS nations. Well, Turkey's possibly the largest Muslim population country in the Middle East and part of NATO. What's that going to do to NATO if Turkey leaves? It's like, oh boy, this is going to be wild, right? So for all intents and purposes, the BRICS nations added 6 of the 9 largest oil producers in the world. If they get Turkey, they add even more, right? And so there was this article that I saw, and this is all pertaining to the Saudi Arabia piece that you just talked about. So when you look at
he did,
some
Tony.
of these,
Tom doesn't believe it though.
Some of the things that are happening, the Fed on, let's see the date of this. So on May 30th, the Fed admitted that some countries are moving towards gold. Okay. So it's like, but it's only a few, not a big deal.
Let me look at
Which 4 countries were they referring to? China with 1.4 billion people, India with 1.4 billion people, Russia with 144 million, Turkey with 85. So that's 3 billion people. That's 37.5% of the world's population.
Well, look at this. I'll read this. It's almost comical. It says the decline in the dollar preferences of a small group of countries, notably China, India, Russia, and Turkey. What a small, it's not like Uruguay and Madagascar, and I mean these are those 4 countries: China, India, Russia, Turkey. It's almost half the world's population. it's insane. But I'll throw one more thing in there just to add to the overall insanity, is that right now, just checking, you go to CNBC.com, which arguably is one of the main financial hubs for your common retail investors and your people that are looking to understand what's happening. Not a single mention that I can find, just in a quick look on the entire homepage, talking about how Saudi Arabia has declined to renew the petrodollar agreement, or not a single mention of the new BRICS currency, which we're going to talk about, which is also massive right now in the news that matters. It just shows you is that they're hiding this from people. The folks that watch this show, they know what's going on, but the average person, you say, are you following what's happening with the bricks? And they're like, yeah, they're using lumber a lot more in building. They're not using really brick anymore. And it's like, most people just don't know. But the folks that are watching you and I, of course, like they're smart people, but just, it's insane that you have the Fed downplaying the fact, like going back to this, that, well, the decline in the dollar preferences of a small group of countries, half the world's population base almost, and the large increase in the quantity of reserves held by Switzerland explain most of the decline in the aggregate dollar share of reserves. I mean, this is de-dollarization. This is the beginning of the end of this dollar-based fiat system that they've been using to absolutely destroy us and keep us enslaved. Sorry to steal the away from you. I just had to jump to that.
No, it was a great jump because, okay, so this is step number 1, right? So they're saying that they're not going to use dollars in exchange for oil. So what are they going to use, right? That's the second part of the equation. Well, I would say since Saudi Arabia is now part of the BRICS nations, they're either going to use the yuan or they're going to use a common BRICS currency, because that's the end goal here, right? And when you look at statements that Putin's making, even statements that the BRICS nations are making, they're ready for their own common currency. But until they get to that point, they will probably use the yuan, right? Because maybe it's not ready yet. Maybe it's coming. But either way,
that's not actually what
away
Saudi
from the dollar. Push.
What you say?
That's not what Saudi said, though.
Oh no, I didn't get any reports on what side.
Saudi never said they weren't no longer going to take dollars.
What did that? What else? What did they say?
They said they would no longer only take dollars.
Yeah, okay. And I found it.
No, that's a big difference.
What up, Jigaboo?
What up? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Man, I just trying to set this damn thing up.
Oh, you went out and bought it today, huh?
Man, I couldn't do it no more, man.
Work numbers.
Yo, Mayor.
We advise that those of you who are holding dollars,
Mayor.
You should
yes,
limit
sir.
going to losses.
Goddamn Miles Bryant going to jail forever, sir.
You better do what you must.
His lawyer admitted everything in a closing statement.
Is going to be different in a couple of weeks. For the people,
I got a new case for us though.
Kenya is the one that the president said you better get rid of the dollar. We changing everything up. We ain't gonna be hostage to the U.S. dollar anymore.
Yeah, he lying.
Yeah, that's a nice thought.
Yeah, he lying. They know,
What's
Africans
he got
love
sitting
US.
in Switzerland?
Well, I'm just saying. I'm just telling you what he said now.
Well, he also made some ridiculous claim like they found the largest gold deposit in the world.
Oh, we don't. Do you know if he was lying?
Well, it's all based off initial surveys,
Oh, okay.
which are highly inaccurate.
This nigga
Which are
shooting
just
spray in
pictures
his
of ground.
nose. That's why I know LA was one of the little fat kids that had the motherfucking nose problem. That nigga had to use a goddamn spray in his nose the whole
Dog,
goddamn.
I got allergies, man. I need to go get this mic a little too good. What the fuck? You heard that shit?
Yes, I heard it.
It ain't Coke.
All right.
Yeah, mind your
Demand
business.
for currencies in the
Next time I mute myself.
and you can see
Well,
this
do that shit no
pendulum
more.
shift from the west to the east. And here's the thing:
Nigga, like he had an inhaler.
I don't think we're going to get it back. Right. So
Make one mistake.
here's the ugly reality. Even when Trump comes back, what is he going to do if 70% of the world says we're not using the US dollar? Not even Trump could get that back. Now, what Trump would be able to do,
70% of the world is not going to say we're not going to use the US dollar.
Well, no, but when they talk about 70% of the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're talking about raw numbers of citizens.
Yeah, absolutely.
And guess what? Most of those people, a lot of them, don't make 10 grand a year.
Mm-hmm.
So GDP wise, they're low power.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, what I was bringing to the table is that no one heard about the whole thing about BRICS, not BRICS, Saudi Arabia saying they're getting rid, not getting rid of the petrodollar. They're not signing a contract to keep us bound to the petrodollar only. You know what I mean? And that was just some interesting shit to me, considering that's been the world's fiat currency pretty much for the last.
Well, what I want to know
year?
is, were we even in talks with them to do it, to continue it?
Probably
Did
not.
we even make an effort?
Probably not. Probably. I mean, I wouldn't put it past this administration and be like, "Fuck it."
Oh no, I know they did.
John the Badger with the $5 said, "Doesn't Kenya disapprove of the alphabet community?" Absolutely, they do. Absolutely, they do. They don't play that alphabet soup shit over there. I'll give them that. So, yeah. But I don't think Biden and his so-called. I don't think Anthony Blinken was over there talking up the use of petrodollar with Saudi Arabia. Matter of fact, I don't even think, do they even talk to Saudi Arabia, because as last time I heard, them motherfuckers don't take Joe Biden's phone call. What happened? Like 7 times they wouldn't answer his phone call?
Would you?
Yep.
He'd probably be falling asleep on the phone and shit.
A fact.
Yeah. He probably shit himself in front of the fucking king.
I'm surprised you ain't talk about the Republicans getting the head of the DOJ up there. Even though
because it means nothing.
I said the same thing to Trash. It was a bunch of fluff. They had to get the sergeant arms up there. Oh, that
It's all
nonsense.
smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, it does nothing.
I mean,
it makes makes people think, oh, look at the Republicans. We're standing strong against all that. Not, bitch, you're not doing anything. It's the only reason why you can't hold them in contempt. They can hold them in contempt, but it means nothing.
Did you see the footage of Nancy Pelosi?
Yes, I did. That was
taking
amazing.
responsibility for the failure of January 6th.
How the fuck did this is why I say Republicans are pieces of shit, right? They had this fucking footage. Why did they leave that shit up to motherfucking HBO to put
out there? Yeah. She was in a car talking that shit. I was like, wait a minute, what?
Why didn't they put that shit front and center of the fucking goddamn January 6th committee after fucking Nancy Pelosi was out of there? Why did
because they refused to even be part of it, except for the fucking turncoats that went.
Jesus, this is just the fucking stupidest, weakest pieces of shit of fucking Republicans I've ever seen in my fucking life. Well, yeah, I've seen a lot of weak people, and these motherfuckers just can't cut the fucking mustard, nigga.
They all show, Anthony.
All show. It's embarrassing to say that I lean more conservative, because these are some pieces of fucking camel shit.
They need MTG leading that thing. She have him right.
Somebody, because these motherfuckers is pussies.
They need to get away from the showman.
Yeah, it's just crazy, man. And the fact of the matter, this nigga, what the fuck was his name? God damn it. What is his name? God damn it, I'm drawing a blank. The Attorney General, Merrick Garland. Yeah. This motherfucker was under oath. Mayo. And it still means nothing.
The crazy part is this the ass backwards part. They will rely on his office to prosecute him. I'm like, wait a minute, what?
Yeah.
That's why I said it means nothing.
It's like, wait a minute, what?
Here's another kicker, right? You have Stephen Bannon got to turn himself in on the first. For what? Contempt of Congress.
Hilarious, ain't it?
Ain't that shit funny?
Once I heard that the DOJ, his DOJ got to prosecute him, I was like, yeah, I don't even know why they wasting their time.
God, is it?
This is why I said they all need to be. That's why they got to be independent or get rid of them.
Well, it's just like this whole Hunter Biden thing, right? Even if he's found guilty, even if they gave him 25 years, his daddy's going to instantly pardon him because it's all federal.
No. I'm going to tell you why. His dad's not going to pardon him. He's not going to pardon him because he said he's not going to pardon him. What he's going to do is commute his sentence. Because he can say, well, he's still a felon, but I commuted his sentence so he doesn't have to go to jail. I'm an elderly man. That's how they're going to do it. That's how they're going to play.
You think you're going to wait after the election?
Listen, that motherfucker don't even like it.
Oh no, he ain't gonna serve a day in fucking jail.
Yeah, but I'm saying, you think he gonna do it before or after the elections?
He gonna have to do it before the election.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Damn, that'd be crazy.
Like I said, he's not gonna pardon him.
There ain't no federal appeals process where you sit free until the appeal. But you know that motherfucker ain't gonna. They ain't giving him. They ain't giving him fucking any time at all. He'll get 3 years probation.
Even if he gets 5, say he gets 5 years of not even having probation. Say they give him probation, he's still going to commute his sentence. So he ain't gonna have to wear it. Well, he's not gonna have to wear that shit anyway. But you know how.
It's like he need a job.
Yeah,
he got more shell companies than a little bit,
bro. And if you, oh my god. You should have been here last night.
They still living large off all that Iraq fucking housing money.
Him and his uncle got from everybody.
I was here last night. What are you talking about?
No. No, after the show ended.
Oh, y'all did some more bullshit.
Oh,
I went over to TikTok. Oh,
he is falling into the rabbit hole.
The TikTok lives are something else, sir. They are something else. I got kicked out of 6 of them within 15 minutes, maybe 20.
This white girl thanked the black community for getting her monetized because she said a bunch of crazy shit, and they just. I was like, that's what I got to do.
Yeah,
these amazing things and start to actually have reason with our spending. And do it within the constraints of what we should have been doing for decades.
Yeah, all right, I'm done with this. Yeah, there's nothing else really is you're gonna say.
Well, I can tell you what Trump can do.
Go ahead.
Which we already talked about, but number one, pull our military out of the Gulf.
Absolutely.
Right now, our Navy protects all that shipping, which is the only way they can get their oil to market.
Yeah.
Pull it. Let China spend their valuable dollars and their shoreline fucking Navy's money to protect that. Because they don't have a deep ocean Navy.
Yeah. They have
let them spend all the money.
Their Navy is better than Iran's because Iran got those small boats, but their Navy. I mean, what did you say? They had two carriers.
2 carriers.
The rest of them are all. We have the most carriers in the fucking world.
Yeah.
You know
And you are a shoreline navy if you don't have aviation.
you know the funny part about that talk they always talk. Y'all been to a lot of places just like me. How many places have y'all been to where they didn't want the US dollar?
Shit. Motherfuckers accepted that shit in Afghanistan, so I don't know.
How many places have y'all been to where they didn't want the US dollar? That's why I be laughing like, yo, I travel all the time. And them motherfuckers like, you got US dollars? I'm like, wait a minute, I thought it was going in the trash. What happened?
Yeah, I ain't gonna. Like I said, it's gonna be a hard transition, but if they do in
Whoa, is that a tattoo?
No, I don't know what you're talking about. That. I don't know what you're talking
about. Is that a tattoo?
No, sir.
Give my $5. Give my $5. Give my $5. Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. You said, hold on, my arms hurt. I can't pull it up, but I got you, sir.
I did not say that.
Sir, is that a tattoo? You thought I forgot? I thought you was gonna slip up. I knew it. That's why I was waiting.
Hey, I went golfing today, man. I sweated the shit out of this goddamn shit today. What? It was 175 degrees out there today.
It was crazy.
Is Kingdom Mind still in here?
We protect shipping all over the world.
Well, that's because we're good in logistics.
Mm-hmm. And we need to let them spend their money on it.
Yeah.
Let's see how Brazil, China, and Russia all get along when they're asking each other for money to support all that.
Not only that, they're gonna have to worry about all their pirates. They own pirates. What up, Sway?
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, because they do way better shipping than China does. China sent me a fucking broken ass shit that I had to. Luckily, I'm very crafty with my hands, and I can pretty much fix anything I put my brain to. But it's just annoying that these motherfuckers ship shit and goddamn plastic bags and think that's what keeps them shit free. Motherfuckers. Fucking team with it. Listen, they sent me a whole shit of broken shit mail.
I mean, what you expect for $2? The shipping costs more than the product.
It wasn't for $2, but them motherfuckers sent me a whole fucking thing full of broken shit. I was like, this is about a bitch.
Did you watch that?
Customs opens up every fucking thing I get from Temu.
Yeah. Well, no,
like they waiting to find some lock switches in my shit.
Fuck customs, bastards.
What's it? Yes, sir. Where else would I go? I don't know, Kim. I was making sure you see it.
They get me every time. Fuck customs, bastards.
So Kingdom Minded had a story yesterday that she wanted to talk about, but I said there was more for today. And we can get into this before we get into the other conversation.
Dinosaurs, because they're extinct. People come up with theories all the time. Here's my theory. I believe at the time of the dinosaurs, eventually the plants and they became gaseous, and the dinosaurs ate those plants and they burped themselves to death. What do you think, guys? Is that pretty scientific? You guys rolling?
Oh, God.
Oh, sounds kind of goofy. Well, see, if you get a really cool graphic artist, and then you get a bunch of guys with little letters at the end of their names, and then you publish it in a peer-reviewed magazine, everybody thinks it's highly plausible. Here's the biggest extinction theory we hear. This giant meteor smashed into the Yucatan Peninsula and just wiped out all the dinosaurs, and not the ducks, and not the beavers, and not all the other creatures. What I'm going to do is run through the 7 F's of dinosaurs: formed, fearless, fallen, flood, fated, found, and fiction, to see if we can gain some insight into the topic. So let's start at number 1, which is...
All right. So we got Sway with the $2 super chat said, yo. And then $2 more. It says, LA, I'm glad your camera off. You look sickly. Damn.
Well, the fact is, he ain't lying. He is not lying.
You sick today?
No, but I look sickly. I look crazy, so he ain't lying. So I give him that one. When Sway on, when he on. Say what?
Did you get a haircut the other day?
Yeah.
So your hairline already fucked up?
No, it don't look like Miles Bryant. Oh, They did a close up of that hairline. Said you were never lying. That shit was crazy. I said, who fucked his hair up? You at least gotta go to jail with a fresh cut.
Something like that. Oh, why'd I bring that up? I don't have my fucking god dang. What the... Hello, white woman. All right. Mayor with the 5 gifted subs.
Damn, I thought Nightbot grabbed one of them for a second.
He got impressed visible, trash, BM, angry snowman, and Con Chantaray. All right, y'all need to thank Mayo for the 5 gifted subs. Hey, LA, are we doing that Father's Day thing we talked about?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
We're gonna do a Father's Day show. We're gonna do giveaways and everything. So you got to be a member. So make sure y'all get a membership to either mine or Tom page. We're gonna do giveaways and everything. So share the.
You should do the giveaway on June 7th. What you should have did. But go ahead.
What's June 7th?
The greatest day of ever.
Mayo's birthday.
Martin Luther King birthday.
My birthday. What are we doing here? Don't play stupid.
Your birthday's really June 7th?
Yes.
Oh, it's like, yeah, no, that's right. I'm talking with you. My dad's birthday was June 11th. So yesterday.
Yeah. Great man. Great man.
He thinks he is. That boy went gambling. And he goes to the motherfucking casino. I was like, hey, Dad. I was like, oh, no, I can't do this shit. I can't do this shit. That shit was killing my ears. All them goddamn bells and whistles going off. My God. What did you do for your birthday, John the Baptist?
Went to a jazz fest in Greenville.
Okay.
And I had me, I'm gonna tell you, man. I had steak for the very first time in my life.
Oh God.
I had a Japan A5 Wagyu.
Sounds disgusting.
It was
about 2.5 ounces, wasn't it?
It was about. I got 5 ounces. I couldn't afford a big one.
That is the big one, sir.
5 ounces, not well for Wagyu steak. Yes, you're correct. Yeah, that would be a big one.
Okay,
but
let's get back.
That's all I could afford to get, though.
So I thought you was poor, sir. You getting the big shit, dog.
Man, I saved up for 10 years for this. What we doing?
When did God form or create the dinosaurs? Does the Bible say, for example, when God created Tyrannosaurus Rex? Actually, it does. Dinosaurs were land animals. T-Rex is a land animal, right? God says he created land animals and man on day 6 of creation. So therefore, God created dinosaurs and people on the same day of creation. Now, I know what just happened in many of your minds. The hair stood up in the back of your neck and you go, well, wait a sec. That's not what I heard. Man, I need to read National Geographic, you know, that great faith-building magazine, National Geographic, and it said something different. It said, look at this article here. No human being has ever seen a live dinosaur. Yet we know, da-da-da-da-da-da. It sounds so authoritative, doesn't it? I thought Christians were supposed to hold to the authority of the Word of God. Oh, that contradicts. I wonder which authority is correct. Did you know there are many atheists that point to dinosaurs as their reason to have become atheists? Here's a quote from a typical internet atheist. And he said, dinosaurs were my gateway drug to atheism. While I was still 6 or 7 years away from reaching the conclusion God didn't either care about us or didn't exist, the dinosaurs had shared an important secret that the Bible can be wrong. One time at a small group Bible study, I don't even know how the subject came up, but I just mentioned I believe that God created dinosaurs on day 6 because that seems to be the logical conclusion. And this very godly, lovely lady, Christian lady, she was like, no, I don't think so. I said, really? I said, well, why don't you think that? And she said, I just don't think God would create these huge, scary creatures to be in the Garden of Eden. I mean, someone could have got hurt, you know? Look at those big teeth and stuff like that. She appears to have forgotten biblical history because the second F in the 7 Fs here is the fact that God created these creatures fearless. There was no reason to fear them in the beginning. Why was that? Well, Genesis 1:25 says God created the beasts of the earth. God saw it was very good. At the end of the creation, he said everything was very good. Do we know what very good means? Yes, we do. That means no evil, no death, no carnivorous activity, right? No struggle for existence. That's what very good means. In the beginning, all the beasts of the field and the people were eating plants. Isn't that interesting?
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Kingdom Minded, she's trying to trigger me today. Oh, where are you at, John the Baptist? John the Baptist,
Yes, sir.
what do you believe? Do you believe what's going on, what's being said in this here monologue? Well, visual.
Actually, I was texting my wife when that just happened. She responded. I had to respond to her. So let me see what's read. Let me read what's right now.
Tom, you owe G $5.
They lost.
Yeah, he lost. He guilty on everything besides the rape.
Damn. I thought we were talking about the basketball game.
No, sir. No, sir.
Damn. I gotta pay this.
Miles going to jail.
$5 fucking. He got the what was the oh wait a minute. He going to jail for
murder, kidnapping, filing a false police report.
Damn. Are you sure about that?
Sir, I'm looking it up. I'm looking at it now.
Yes, I believe God gave in verse 129, Genesis 1:29-30. Yes, I believe it. Yes.
Okay, so you believe in dinosaurs, right?
I'm not sure if I do or if I don't.
Well, because okay, you know what? I gotta go back a little bit because you said you weren't paying attention.
It's very good. Do we know what very good means?
Hold on.
Yes, we do. That means no evil. That got hurt, you know? Look at those big teeth and stuff like that. She appears to have forgotten biblical history because the second F in the 7 F's here is the fact that God created these creatures fearless. There was no reason to fear them in the beginning. Why was that? Well, Genesis 1:25 says God created the beasts of the earth. God saw it was very good. At the end of the creation, he said everything was very good. Do we know what very good means? Yes, we do. It means no evil, no death, no carnivorous activity, right? No struggle for existence. That's what very good means. In the beginning, all the beasts of the field and the people were eating plants. Isn't that interesting? Everything vegetarian. Why is that? Well, because there was no death. There was no bloodshed. There was no carnivorous activity. That's not very good, is it? I'll show you a short clip here of some alligators and some crocodiles and watch what they love to eat. Now, you might think, well, that thing would have snapped down on anything you threw in his mouth, right? But keep watching. They actually like this, and they're fed this on a constant basis. Chomp, chomp, chomp. Pretty soon you'll see a little crocodile. He's going to climb up a kumquat tree, and he likes to eat kumquats because they've found now that alligators and crocodiles love to eat fruit, and they love to eat all sorts of, vegetables and legumes and things like that. Pretty interesting. You can read articles about it. So if we go with God's word, this was not occurring until this happened, our next F, because this entire creation is groaning. It's wearing out like a garment, and we live in a sin-cursed world. How did that happen? Romans 5:12, through one man, sin entered into the world, and death through sin, and so death spread to all men because all sinned. And it's not just men that fell. Romans 8:22, for we know that the whole creation has been groaning in the pains of childbirth until now, which would have included the dinosaurs, which means they wouldn't have operated the way they did in the beginning, and they start thinking about eating something else. Now, how do we know about the dinosaurs?
Oh, man.
So yeah, I agree with the ideology that he's teaching. Yes.
So you think
how much
dinosaurs?
how much I believe in dinosaurs? I don't think the Bible specifically mentioned dinosaurs, but
It
Bible
said
specifically
all
mentioned
beasts.
But correct. That's what I'm looking at. So because it does not list it, I can't say yay or nay. But the ideology we're talking about, the concept we're talking about, yes, I do think all animals lived in peace, all human beings lived in peace until the fall.
Damn. I wanted to be mad at this, but I can't. And I'm not even a Bible thumper, but I can't. I don't have an argument for it besides it's the Bible. That's it. I don't have a real argument for that.
It's a children's book.
Yeah.
The Bible's a children's book.
That's real. LA, what do you
Yeah,
think?
I guess it is a children. Oh, my bad. Go ahead, LA. My bad.
About the dinosaurs.
About what you heard, sir. What you heard?
I just think the dude just fishing for attention like you.
Wow, I'm fishing for attention.
Yeah.
What? How is he fishing for attention? That was weird. I wasn't expecting that one.
So I don't mean, does he believe in dinosaurs or doesn't? Like I don't. Which side is he on?
Of course, he believes in dinosaurs. He said this God, one of God's creations. So yes, he believes in dinosaurs.
Okay. Yeah, I think he just doing like you do, fishing for attention. But I'll let you have it. I'll let you have it, sir.
I don't need you to let me have anything. I'm literally asking you because I want to know how you feel.
Well, because now you believe in dinosaurs. This is amazing.
I didn't say that. I did not say
Well,
that.
you said it last week.
No, I
Yeah.
said last week. What someone explained to me that dinosaurs existed closer to now and not 60 million years ago. I can believe that more than I can believe that we unearthed some bones from 60 million years ago. That's what I said.
Okay. Now you believe in dinosaurs.
I didn't say I believe in dinosaurs.
That's what I heard.
Okay. Just because you heard that shit don't mean
Yeah, that's what I heard.
shit.
You
Okay.
believe in dinosaurs now. That's fine.
All right. Okay. That's what you. What did the Kingdom Mind say? I know she said something. She said, "Believe, believe." Look at John the Baptist. Look at it. This is not. Listen, I don't have an argument for it because people believe in the Bible. I can't say that I don't. I've never believed in the Bible before. I'm just saying he's actually making a good argument. I can give him his arguments pretty solid to me personally.
They're not around today because of their bones, correct? Where did those fossils come from? Well, that's the next F, the flood. Genesis 6-9, the worldwide flood recorded in the Bible. The fountains of the great deep burst open. There was 40 days of intense rain. Do we even know what 3 days of torrential rain will do now? Yes, we do, because we've recorded it now. All the sediments and the biomass gets mixed up together and it starts making slurries and so on. Even evolutionists now are admitting this because the evidence is just so overwhelming. Here's Dr. Phil Curry. He works with the Royal Tyrrell Museum. He wrote a book called 101 Questions About Dinosaurs. Now watch what he says. He believes in millions of years. He believes in the story of evolution, but look at what he says. Fossilization is a process that can take anything from a few hours to millions of years. I wonder which one of those two processes Dr. Curry has observed. He goes on to say, well, the amount of time that it takes for a bone to become completely permineralized is highly variable. If the groundwater is heavily laden with minerals in solution, the process can happen rapidly. And I would bet at the time of the Great Flood, there was lots of minerals and lots of stuff in the solution that would make a lot of fossils very quickly. Mary Schweitzer did this experiment with these tyrannosaur bones she found, and here was the title of her article: Scientists Recovered T-Rex Soft Tissue. It was supposedly 70 million years old. Red blood vessels, red blood cells, completely unfossilized. That's like walking out into the Sahara Desert and finding an ice cream cone. It's not supposed to be there. Well, if all these fossils we find could have soft tissue in them, that confirms what the Bible says, that the earth is young, not millions and millions of years old, because chemical decomposition rates simply don't.
Bro,
There was a scientist. I watched a documentary. I cannot remember the documentary. But I'm gonna see if I can find it. It talks about how the Grand Canyons could be part of the Great Flood. Now I don't know how true that is. That's just what the scientists are talking about.
I've heard it more than once. Again, he's making a competitive argument that I cannot say I disagree with, because if you're saying this shit is 60 million years old, I just don't believe it. I don't believe it. But I don't think dinosaurs is as big as they say they were either. So that's just me. That's just me. But I don't know. This shit is. Hey, Kingdom Miner, you got me perplexed right now.
Allow for soft tissue to last for millions of years. Many people have questions about the ark and how dinosaurs would fit. Genesis 6:19 and 20 talks about how the fact that, two of all living creatures, male and female, every kind of animal is going to go into the ark to be kept alive except for the dinosaurs. No, it doesn't say that. Oh no, every creature So that would include the dinosaurs. Well, let's get back to the true depiction of the Ark. 483 tractor trailer trucks could fit on board that boat. But still, people have this idea in their head, but okay, even though the boat was that big, how do you get a 70-ton titanosaur on Noah's Ark? But you have to remember, just like every creature, they didn't start off huge. Here's the largest dinosaur egg we've ever found. That thing didn't pop out of there weighing 70 tons. And by the way, the commandment was the creatures were to go on board the ark to reproduce, right, after the flood. So you're not going to take like grandma and grandpa dinosaur on board. You're going to take the young ones, the teenagers, so to speak, because they're going to be virile and be able to reproduce and so on. So the flood has great explanatory power for the fossils. Why has the account of this, if people really saw dinosaurs, because if they came on board the ark, they went off, people would have seen them. So why is this kind of faded from people's memory? Do you know there are dragon legends around the world? Do you know people groups around the world say that in their histories, people saw these huge reptilian beasts? There are so many accounts, it's hard to keep track of them all. So much so that up until 1973, in the World Book Encyclopedia, they actually had this entry. The dragons of legend are strangely like actual creatures that have lived in the past. They are much like the great reptiles, dinosaurs, which inhabited the earth long before man is supposed to have appeared on earth. Even staunch atheists and evolutionists like Carl Sagan, he wrote a book called Dragons of Eden, and he said the pervasiveness of dragon myths in the folk legends of many cultures is probably no accident. It's a worldwide phenomenon. The Chinese zodiac has all sorts of real creatures that we know of, and it also includes dragons. Why would they only include one mythological creature with all the other creatures? And some of the oldest artifacts.
I mean, they have a point. He has a point. Now I'm not. Hey, LA. I am not joking when I'm saying I'm really on the fence right now.
I told you. You believe in dinosaurs now.
Fucking argument. He makes a solid argument.
He makes a solid argument only based on the Bible, though.
No. He's making
yes,
a solid.
Yes.
If you want to say that, sure.
It's entirely.
Yes, cool. You can give me that, but it still doesn't speak to the thing that I said before, like a couple weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, when I said, or last week, I don't know when it was, is that dragons can be depicted everywhere. Every community has said they saw some form or some shape of a dragon. I'm just saying. He's making a compelling argument.
Yeah.
Buddhists don't read the Bible, but they still got dragons.
That's what I'm saying.
In the culture.
I'm not saying, I'm not being a troll right now. I'm being dead ass serious.
No, and I'm also not saying they didn't exist.
Yeah. So,
but his entire belief is anchored in the Bible.
Well, he's a preacher. I would hope so.
Yeah, he didn't hide that fact, Mayo. What's what he bases his belief on?
No.
He's limiting himself to biblical references, though. I'll give you that.
Now that's a false accusation, though, to say that he's limiting himself to only biblical references.
Well, he's limiting himself right now to biblical references because that's what he's focusing on, which is absolutely correct. But that's, I mean, he also used some references to other cultures around the globe showing appearances of dragons, and the dragons are actually depicted on cave drawings as well. So I cannot say that shit didn't exist per se. If you can find it anywhere in cave drawings and people's culture, all that depicts dragons and other type of reptilial, whatever the fuck the word is, reptile-like creatures. So I cannot say that those did not exist, considering we still have the alligator, crocodile, the lizard, the snake, all types of fucking reptilial animals. I can't say that it's a totally made up story. All I'm saying is I don't believe that it was 65 million years ago.
Well, technically, you said it didn't exist. Now you kind of changing that.
Listen. I don't think
Could
they
it be though?
exist.
Could it be that? Could you say that it exists? It didn't exist 65 minutes ago just because of the time reference didn't seem plausible to you?
That too, but I don't think anything was 65 million years ago will still have the same structure as it would now. And that to me, it just doesn't make any fucking sense. Not only that, I don't think that we know the actual timeline of the Earth or anything else. So we only can know based off what we're living in, and we don't know. We know absolutely dog shit in anything nowadays. No one is actually not inventing, but unearthing swaths of fucking fossilized or anything in that. I just don't know. And I don't believe anyone that says they don't. They do know. But that's just me. What up, Sway?
What up, man? So one, I got two things. One, you don't believe in dinosaurs?
Absolutely. I
Who
don't
believe
believe
in dinosaurs?
I don't believe in dinosaurs the way they're being depicted now. I don't think they were giant feet tall. I don't believe that shit. I don't believe they were 70 tons in weight. I don't believe that shit because first off, the Earth right now couldn't hold all that in one sitting. That's just the way I think. So no, I don't think they existed in the way they're depicted now. If that makes sense.
I think there's a lot of things we can comprehend that somehow got lost, like within history. But I don't think there's not colonies of like T-Rexes. I think certain animals fall in line of like like a literal apex predator where they're far few between. It's not like just a pack of gorillas. I think it's literally you might have like seven of them on the whole fucking continent. So I don't know. I mean, that's just kind of how I think. I believe I'm with you that it's not depicted properly, but in the same breath, I think they exist. Now, I know you probably have a bunch of different topics. So, at what point in the show can I bring up my own made-up conspiracy? Is my second question.
Well, right after this, you can bring it up. Not a big.
I bet. I bet.
We can find things like this Mesopotamian cylinder seal. Look at what these creatures look like. Long necks, long tails, dinosaur fossils like this one here. Look at the bones on this thing. Imagine what that thing looked like with flesh on it. I'll show you National Geographic's depiction of it. What would you call that if it was running towards you? I'd call it a dragon, right? And other things like, in Cambodia, they've got this temple supposedly built about 800 years ago. See the round circles here in the carvings? Look at the creature. See his tail? See the plates on his back? See his face and his eye? They saw it. That's the most logical conclusion. When I was over in England, I didn't actually get to go to Carlisle Cathedral. Bishop Bell was buried in the floor. They did that back then. It was kind of weird. And you'll see this carpet on the floor. It's because his tomb has brass inlay around it with all these different creatures. And as people have walked on it over the years, it wears out the brass. But if you get them to pull back the carpet, you can see all the different creatures it depicts, like birds. Let's see some of the other creatures they depict. Dog, yep. Fish, yep. Oh, that's interesting, isn't it? Big long necks, big long tails. You know what's interesting too? Do you remember that Mesopotamian cylinder seal? Do you remember the way their necks were entwined? Oh, that's very interesting. You know why that's so interesting? Because these two artifacts are separated chronologically in time by hundreds of years and separated geographically by hundreds of kilometers, which means two different people groups at two different times in history recorded these creatures in the exact same activity. Like rams banging their heads together or giraffes necking. And that's not the only one. Here's the Narmer palette, and it depicts them in the same way. Another people group, different point in time. What's the most logical conclusion? They saw them. That makes most sense. Now, why is that downplayed in the evolutionary community? Well, I don't think I could give you a better quote.
Well, have you seen a giraffe, bro? Giraffes are
and
crazy.
he's written a book about dinosaurs.
Yeah. We have a petting zoo for giraffes up here where we're at right now.
It's just like, why do those things exist? It's like, what the fuck?
And I don't know.
No.
I
want crazy animals? Look at the duck-billed platypus.
That's a fact. That's a fact. There's a lot of things that, like I said, the way they're depicted now, I just think they were different. There are some of the same animals we have now, but some of them went extinct due to climate change or whatever you want to call it. I don't know what the fuck you want to call it. It's just different atmospheres, different everything. Other animals eating the shit and making it go extinct, just like tribes are extinct. Animals can go extinct too. So, yeah. Doesn't mean it's a dinosaur necessarily, but it means it was an animal that lived at those times. So that's just.
I am very upset though that we don't have like any creature or anything that can like just breathe fire or like shoot water.
You got beetles that can create smoke. They're serious.
Fart.
It's a secretion, but it's in the form of smoke. It's crazy.
A skeptic, he's an atheist, he's an evolutionist, and here's what he said. Such an association, what people called dragons generically in the past actually being dinosaurs, such an association would dispel an Earth with vast antiquity. The entire history of creation, including the day of rest, could be accommodated in the 7 biblical days of the Genesis myth. Evolution would be vanquished. See what he just admitted? Man, if people actually saw these things, evolution's a dead duck. And I'm an atheist and I don't want to believe in God. So I have to have a way of explaining everything without God. What's the only explanation in town? Evolution of some sort. Now, here's a question we often get. Well, yeah, but if these creatures lived before and after the flood, then why don't we see dinosaurs in the Bible? Well, you don't see a lot of words in the Bible, things like email. Don't see that, right? Don't see cell phone. You see communication and people talking to each other and letters and all that stuff. So we're not really looking for the word dinosaur, are we? We're looking for depictions of creatures like dinosaurs. So let's go to Job 40. Look at the behemoth which I made along with you. God's talking to Job. Do you remember that God created the land animals and people on the same day of creation? Look at these creatures I made along with you, Job. Now it goes on to say that it feeds on grass like an ox and has got strength in the loins, with super, big muscles, and his tail sways like a cedar. Oh, that's interesting. I mean, what kind of creature do we see today that has a tail like a tree? It's this massive creature, and first amongst the works of God. Its legs are like tubes of bronze. It's this huge creature. That's a great description of a sauropod dinosaur, right? Big long neck, long tail, etc. Massive creature. They'll say things like, oh, behemoth, it must have been like an elephant or a hippo. Do you remember the description the Word of God says? It's got a tail like a tree. Let's look at the hiney of an elephant or a hippo. Doesn't seem to fit the biblical description, correct? Now we get another description of a creature in Job 41. It's called Leviathan. We don't know what Leviathan is exactly, but it could come in and out of water. Its scales were virtually impenetrable, and it breathed fire. And see, even right there, many Christians, breathes fire. We don't see creatures today breathing fire, so this has got to be some kind of, mythological kind of thing in the Bible. Well, we don't know what Leviathan was. Let me give you a good candidate. Super croc. That's what they call this fossil they've found. You can see the white skull there. That's a large crocodile. But look at the size of Super Croc's head. Pretty neat, eh? But you know what's really neat about Super Croc is look at his bulbous nose. That's very interesting. See, we don't know. Could he have mixed when he was alive some kind of chemicals and shot out some kind of fiery snort? We don't know because we only have fossils. But I want you to think about something. Let's say you had never seen an electric eel. You guys know what an electric eel is, right? Don't go in the water with them because they can hit you with about 1,000 volts of electricity, right? Now pretend they were extinct and some paleontologist goes out and he just finds the bones of an electric eel. So it looks like kind of a snake in the rock, right? Would you even dream that when that thing was fully composed with all its soft parts, it could zap you with 1,000 volts of electricity? It'd never cross your mind because you only got the bone. If you want to follow this up, I really recommend this book called Living Fossils by Dr. Carl Werner. You'll see all of the different creatures that they've found living together at the same time as dinosaurs now. Very interesting.
So,
and actually, it's a good read. There's some great quotes in it. Let me give you one.
Go ahead.
Uncle Tom,
Mm-hmm.
based on the verse he just read, the logic that he's using,
Mm-hmm.
if he's making a good sound argument, do you still believe that dinosaurs could have been huge? Or do you still disbelieve that dinosaurs could have been huge?
Again,
he says, and I remember reading that verse and it does say like a cedar, a tree, whatever you want, how you want to.
yeah, I got you. Well, here's my thing with that. Like this, I will concede that I do believe in dinosaurs existed, but not how they. Oh, hold on, not how they're depicted now. The way they depict them now is like they're 65 million years ago. If you want to go to that time period, I'm going to say no. I don't believe in dinosaurs.
No. Okay, so what size? How big would an animal have to be to have a tail the size of a tree trunk, or the size of a tree, a cedar tree?
I don't know. There's some cedar trees that are small. So what are we doing?
But that's not how they described it, though.
Well, yeah, people
You
exaggerate
didn't
a
say
lot
a
of
big
shit.
cedar tree.
Yeah, people exaggerate a lot of shit. So I mean, what does that mean? Like I said,
Okay, first, okay, so
I can agree, and I will agree with you that a lot of shit existed at the same time. I've always said that. But if you want to say that it's the way it's depicted in the Bible, I mean, or not the Bible, but the way they depict all these dinosaurs being fucking 35 feet, 35 fucking what feet tall? Not 35, whatever. Taller than the motherfucker. No, I don't believe that shit. I don't. I can't. I can't fathom it. Matter of fact, the reason I don't fathom it because you got to think about this: the trees that are alive today are not that as big as they are. If they were eating fucking vegetables and fruit, why would they need to be that big to eat something that are lower to the ground? It just doesn't make sense.
Trees were bigger back then.
You don't know that.
Yes, we do. We actually have a record of it.
You look at petrified trees.
Oh my god!
Look at pictures just from the 1800s and the early 1900s.
Mail, we already had the discussion. We don't believe it. We don't believe them.
According to the Bible in the book of Enoch, there were giants.
Yeah, I know. See, there
so
we go.
a red sea.
Now
So
we're
they say
going
today
to
a red sea. So today a red cedar could be what 30, 36 feet.
Yeah, I guess. If y'all want to put it that way, if that's what y'all believe, cool. I'm not gonna disagree with you. But
No,
I say humans.
I was just trying to see what, based on that depiction.
The thing about humans is they exaggerate a whole lot of shit.
I think we're trying to understand the universe by digging in our backyard. I think that's where it's at. We can't understand the universe by digging in our backyard.
I'll never even fathom the fucking universe. That to me, that really doesn't exist as well either. So
I don't think we're trying to figure out the universe. I think we're trying to figure out just this planet.
Yeah.
Well, you can't understand the history of this planet by digging in our backyard either.
Well, but if you dig in multiple backyards, you can get an idea.
But that's what we're doing right now. We're just digging in our backyard. We're not looking at the whole and understanding the whole thing.
So are you saying scientists? Are you saying scientists only? I'm sorry. What exactly are you saying?
We will never be able to understand the whole history of the world because simple fact is, none of us lived at the same time as some of these things that were alive.
Not only that, the history that we're being taught is all a fraud anyway. It's all being rewritten, reinterpreted, and retranslated. Absolutely. I mean, if you look at the Bible, the oldest Bible is in the Ethiopian Bible. Hell, there's even books that are still even left out of that one. You know, I mean, if you look at that as, I mean, how can you actually say that the Bible itself is actually an accurate record of actual history, or is it just fables and myth? You know what I mean?
Okay, so there are the Bibles, Ethiopian Bible and American Bible we look at today.
It's the oldest Bible in the world.
No. What I'm saying is, it's not that they. It depends on who chronicalized the Bible and what era they chronicalized in. The stories they decide to leave in or leave out. Even the ones that the ones that they left out. What did you just say?
Go ahead. Oh, that whole thing up. Sorry, you tried it. It ain't work out, but you tried it.
And even the ones that got left out, they don't change the narrative of what was actually either Bible.
You don't know that.
Okay, so if you look at an Oxford Bible have Bible stories that are not in the King James Bible.
You can't speak to that being true either.
See, the King James Bible was authorized by King James.
No, what I'm saying though, the same story that you read it. Okay, there are stories that you read in the Oxford Bible that would be in the King James Bible, but what you read in First and 2nd Maccabees, if I said that right, it still doesn't change what we read in the King James.
Sure.
The stories, most of the stories still go hand in hand. They still support the narrative that the Bible is teaching.
Okay. But again, you can't speak to that being absolute truth because you don't know, and neither do they.
You're correct. I can't speak to absolutely knowing everything myself, no, because I'm not smart enough to do all that. Y'all know that for sure. But for what I have read and seen, I can't speak to what I have read and seen.
Yeah, I agree
And
with that.
you can't really even believe archaeologists, the mainstream archaeologists, archaeology today anyway, because it has a narrative to keep its, because they got all this incentive of keeping their, their money coming in, and they have to keep the narrative
Well,
going. You know what I
according to
mean?
what
Because
you're saying,
they're not willing to actually go through, to try and figure out the truth. We have megalithic buildings all over the planet that scientists can't even, and was it out of place items they can't even explain. You know what I mean?
I agree.
See,
yeah. And according to your logic, if I would agree with you, I can't even tell you how old America is because I wasn't there either. I'm gonna know about
Exactly.
history tell.
According to
Correct. So I
some,
mean,
records, there were giants here in America. There was actually buildings already here, and forts and ports were actually built on top of it. You know.
yeah. So in that case, I mean, everything we read about history is everything that we read and claim to know is what somebody else told us.
That's absolutely. That's where we're gonna stop
Exactly.
right there. Continue.
One, this is a modern day evolutionist, and look at what they admit. We find mammals in almost all of our dinosaur dig sites. These were not noticed years ago. They didn't just used to notice the mammals mixed in with the dinosaurs. We have about 20,000 pounds of bentonite clay that is mammal fossils that we're trying to give away to some researcher. It's not that they're not important, it's just that you only live once, and I specialize in something other than mammals. I specialize in reptiles and dinosaurs. This comes down to the authority of the Word of God or man's word, ever changing, trying to explain the past without the one who was there and the revelation from the one that was there. I know everybody always asks, yeah, but what happened to the dinosaurs? Because they're extinct. It's not just creationists that have to come up with a good explanation and a biblical explanation. It's evolutionists as well. And over the years, I've seen many, many different explanations, okay? People come up with theories all the time. Let me share with you guys one pet theory of mine and just see how plausible this is for you guys, okay? Here's my theory. I believe at the time of the dinosaurs, eventually the plants evolved and they became gaseous, and the dinosaurs ate those plants and they burped themselves to death. What do you think, guys? Is that pretty scientific? You guys rolling with that? No? Sounds kind of goofy? Well, see, if you get a really cool graphic artist to make a really cool picture, and then you get a bunch of guys with little letters at the end of their names coming up with a really cool story, and then you publish it in a peer-reviewed magazine, everybody thinks it's highly plausible. This is a serious, supposed dinosaur extinction theory. We just got a funny graphic to illustrate the silliness of it. These are stories, folks. One of them was that the mammals eventually evolved and ate all the dinosaur eggs. But according to what we've just seen, mammals and dinosaurs coexisted for supposedly millions of years. Of course, everybody knows this one, right? Here's the biggest extinction theory we hear. This giant meteor smashed into the Yucatan Peninsula and just wiped out all the dinosaurs, but not the ducks, and not the beavers, and not all the other creatures. So you see, evolutionists have a challenge explaining dinosaur extinction. As a matter of fact, this book by Alan Sherrick, he points the challenge for them out. He says, now comes the important question, what caused all these extinctions at one particular point in time, approximately 65 million years ago, right? Everybody's coming up with all sorts of suggestions, some serious,
Bro.
Oh,
some jokes, things like that. And he says the trouble is, if we're to just find one reason to account for all of them, it would have to explain the deaths, all at the same time, of animals on land and of animals living in the sea. But in
I
both
got the
cases,
answer,
of
but
only
I'm gonna leave
some
this
of
alone.
those animals. For many of the land dwellers and many of the sea dwellers went on living quite happily into the following period. Alas, no such one explanation exists. There is an explanation in the Bible. Genesis 6-9, the great flood. Billions of dead things buried in sedimentary layers, laid down by water, everywhere you go on the planet. But the creatures who
So how
came
did
on
the
board
flood
the ark
happen?
got off the ark. Some of them have still survived. Some of the creatures
it
in the
rained for a
ocean
very long
perished,
time.
but many of them went on to survive as well. That's the only explanation I've never heard a modern day evolutionist give, that perhaps there was a global flood. Because see,
Nah,
that would be
that's not it.
religious. What's interesting about many dinosaur fossils is the positioning of them. See this creature, and look at the arched back. This is very common with dinosaur bones. It's so common, they give it a name. It's called the epistotonic death pose, and it's typical of creatures having died in water, drowned, asphyxiated. Interesting, isn't it? Now, let me tell you some of the reasons I believe dinosaurs have gone extinct. I believe that the exact same reason that hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of other creatures have gone extinct. Things like hunting. Remember all those dragon legends we had? Guys, I want you to think about this, okay? Let's say wherever you live, there was some big creature marauding and it could hurt your children. What are the guys gonna do? Well, I mean the real guys. You're gonna go out there and you're gonna hunt that thing down and you're gonna kill it, correct? You're gonna find all the nests, right? And you're gonna wipe them out.
Yeah. And things like habitat changes. Many things are going extinct, right? That's why we got all these programs, save the whales and save the owls. Genetic changes. Things are mutating out of existence. It's a fallen world. It's wearing out like a garment. Climate changes. I'm not talking about global warming and everything like that. I'm just talking about the fact that, yeah, there have been, extreme heat and extreme cool. That's said in the Bible would happen until Jesus comes back.
Polar
So
shift.
maybe many of these creatures, these dinosaurs, just simply couldn't adapt. But we see the dragon legends, we know they were there, and they gradually petered out just like so many other creatures have gone extinct. So you see, from what we see in science and what we see in the Word of God, they actually fit perfectly if you've got the correct interpretive lenses on. But I just want to warn Christian parents here. Equip your young people from a very early age about dinosaurs, because they love dinosaurs and they're really fun. They want the toys and all that stuff. But don't underestimate the age of your kids. Equip them very, very early, because evolutionists understand they're interesting. And these shows that they're watching, go ask the average 7-year-old, when did the dinosaurs die out? 65 million years ago. And the seed of the destruction of the gospel is already in their mind. Because if those creatures died out millions of years ago, that means there was death before sin. That means there was death before Adam's sin, and the gospel doesn't make any sense. This was from a Democrat, and he was concerned about the election coming up. As a Democrat, he wanted to see Obama get in again. He was an educator, and he said, the children of red states, that's the conservative ones, will seek a higher education, he explains. And that education will very often happen in blue states, so that's your liberals. For the foreseeable future, loyal ditto heads will continue to drop off their children at the dorms. He was saying, look, all the Republicans down here, they have more kids than us, Democrats. And he's like, this is no good, because they're going to teach their kids conservative values, and then they're not going to vote the right way that I want them to vote. This is what his problem was. But here's his solution. Yeah, but wait a sec. They're going to send their kids to the blue states, right? Now watch what he says. After a teary-eyed hug, mom and dad will drive their SUV off towards the nearest gas station, leaving their beloved progeny behind. Then what he proudly claims? Then they're all mine, and I got them for a lot of hours a week. So you breed, we'll teach, we'll convert. And thank you for the tip of paying for the education on the way out the door.
Interesting. Okay. Sweat, you said you got the answer. Give me the answer, sir.
Nah, let everybody else go, because like I said, mine is going to pertain to my other conspiracy theory.
Anyone else got a reason why the dinosaurs went extinct besides?
I have a question, Tom.
Go ahead. Jesus Christ.
Certain sects of the Christian religion claim the dinosaur bones were placed by the devil. So which
bro,
right?
all right, man, I gotta go. Sorry, man. Let me go ahead and go, because this is crazy. So, my theory is that there's a lost piece of history that nobody can somehow figure the fuck out, and I think it's all congruent, or not congruent, but it's all, it like coincides with the pyramids. Mm-hmm. It coincides with all religious texts somehow referencing Jesus. These religious texts referencing dinosaurs. I believe that there was a holy war against these fucking demonic beings, bro. And that's why it's like man, woman, child, and man is connected with God. I think God, like us,
which
Jesus,
God?
Us, whatever God. I'm not gonna go into that. Anyways, so the man, i.e. Jesus and Adam, had a mission where we had to fight off these damn devils, i.e. the snake that somehow was there in the beginning. And so I think even then it shows in different times, it shows in different ways. And I think for the most part, the theory is, like I said, that the devils have always been trying to somehow corrupt the human society and the human, I guess, spirituality, and by doing it through the women. And so we, as men, created different laws and restrictions and things that put things in place to protect not only us, but also the women and children, because they know and we know the way to get to us is to get to our women, and to get to our children is to get to our women. And so they've done little things, and I think you're seeing it play out right now, where we somehow lost. Like we thought we did win, but then it came at a cost. We lost the dinosaurs. The pyramids now is unexplained. We lost all this technological advances that we can't ever figure out how the fuck these things came in fruition. And somehow now, over time, these motherfuckers seeped back in and took control. You know, they figured they couldn't do it by brute force like before, so now they're doing it quote unquote covertly, but it's really just right in your fucking face. The best way to hide something is in plain sight. So all the shit is happening in your face, but it's just so like you can't do nothing about it. You just accept the shit because they know what they're doing, and now you're seeing it. Like I said, how they've corrupted our society through our women's.
Okay, that was a long one, sir.
But I think, like I said, I think you see it even in the beginning with the snake. What did he do?
He made women lie.
I mean, like I said, it's just in plain sight, man. We gotta realize that we gotta fight these damn demons, my nigga. And if or we lay down and accept the fact, or like this is my other theory that's different because this is I don't know a lot of this shit that where women be at in their mindset, bro. The cognitive dissonance and all this other bullshit. I'm like, yo, are y'all fucking crazy, or is like somebody fucking with y'all? And so I feel like I would love to believe that somebody is fucking with them, and it ain't just them.
No, it's nothing wrong with women. Women are doing exactly what they're supposed to do. The
Nah,
only problem,
nigga, I don't know.
no,
You met the chicks at my age.
No. What I'm saying, no, literally, no. Okay, so what you're talking about, okay, so it's almost like I mean, you hate to use this word, like the evolution of women. What you're talking about right now, hate that word, but I'm gonna use it.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying
No,
all these
I know,
different things they connect with each other, and I think
No,
it'll
they do.
only be explained by a holy war between man and the devils and the demons. We use dinosaurs as weapons. We did use them. We tamed them, and we used them to fight off demons, and the demons used them to fight us. So that's how they died.
Okay.
Go ahead, John Baptist.
If God and the fallen ones are not of this earth, they are technically aliens.
Okay, John Baptist, are you ready?
No, I'm gonna keep listening. I'm gonna keep listening for a minute.
OG, you got something? OG smoking. Y'all done fucked up OG's high.
Oh, my fault. Look, I'm over here talking. I ain't even know what's that. No, I don't believe in none of that stuff like that, bro. I mean, if you say that they don't know how they build the pyramids, they don't know why certain animals are still not here. I mean, the depictions that they showed on them little hieroglyphs or whatever, bro, that can be an animal that's here now. It's just what you imagine it to be. You know what I'm saying?
Bro.
Like they're saying some type of animal that had the body of that dinosaur that ate the leaves off the top of the trees. Well, that looked like a motherfucking lizard to me. Straight up. I mean, we still have long neck lizards. It's kin to the monitor lizard. Them motherfuckers is still shaped like a dinosaur as they picture those in films and so forth, and what he just showed on there. That's what they show. So I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say, you know what I'm saying, a dinosaur with bumps on his back. Nigga, that can be a tortoise right now. Tom them got them motherfuckers down. They can't kill them. The motherfuckers dig a hole in their yard, nigga. They got to stay there. I mean, you got all type of reptiles, but the weird thing is when they try to say about sea animals and shit, bro, water and weight and mass is two different things, bro. Now I don't know about the pyramids and all that different shit, but if you think about how much a whale weighs, one of the largest whales in the world, blue whale or the sperm whale, the motherfuckers weigh thousands of tons, bro. But the crazy part is them niggas think they light as a feather because of the water. And if you think about the pyramids, bro, I mean, nigga, they could have built that shit near water, bro. It's a lot of stuff that you can use to make rocks float, bro. Water and rocks inside of water is easier to move and stuff like that. Now, we have proven as human society, if you take a water source away from an area, bro, you can dry that some bitch out and turn that bitch into a desert. Just saying. But and then this great flood thing, I'm just going through all the points. I don't know how the water got distributed all across the world. If you saying that if it wasn't a flood or anything like that, I mean, water goes up in the air, evaporates, it comes back down. It's a percentage of that stays up there. So I mean, like if you want to fill in an aquifer or something, just like they doing in China right now, the thing you got to do is just flood the desert area, fill up the aquifer, and then that way, when it rains, nigga, you can continue to produce that water by building reservoirs. Now, I'm not saying these niggas back in the day with pyramids and shit had enough technology to build a big ass reservoir, but they could have cut some banks away and shit like that and drained some shit the fuck out.
So it won't water.
We were
it
hit
was
by a big
vibration.
rock from space.
I don't believe in that shit. That's just stupid.
They were able to vibrate the rocks and be able to glide it across the sand.
No, it's easier than that. If you have that type of sand structure, the only thing I do is add water to it. You can slide stuff on top of it.
How come
That's
it's
not how that
They,
works.
how come
they recently
that
did a
is
whole
not-
theory
that is
about
not
how
how
they
that
moved
works,
those rocks
OG.
by water.
Yeah, it's a whole little
Them
ordeal.
rocks
Even
ain't
cutting them,
sliding by putting them big ass, heavy ass rocks is not sliding on no damp ass sand from some water.
do you
I
know
have
what
a
damp?
question.
You know
Hold
what
on.
damp? Well, wait. Do you know what? Okay, go ahead, Tom.
The shit is gonna fucking sink.
Go ahead, OG. Go ahead, cause y'all killing my brain right now. I need to be high.
You good.
I know all I was
OG
gonna
be
say
smoking
is
too fucking much, man.
all
No,
I want.
it's just fact, bro. So look, how do you cut rocks with not steel, but how do you cut rocks with copper or bronze or something like that, Swing? Because the rocks is harder than those materials. How would you use those materials to cut something that's harder?
Vibration.
No, sir. You use sand and water.
You use vibration.
I swear for God, this nigga. Boy, who? This nigga, man, he be knowing facts. Like, I just don't get this man. What in the fuck? You can't say adverse, but you know how the fuck that happens?
Don't
This
take that
nigga-
shit was what he said as a fact.
Man,
You
listen,
talking
he
about
is a
rock.
different type of
He
dude,
ain't talking
man.
about them pyramid rocks.
I get you, but he is a different type of animal. I
He
never in
ain't
my
studied no
goddamn
pyramid
life.
rocks on the study of all that crazy shit. He
Listen,
talking about regular old rocks.
Sway, he ain't feel me yet. He ain't feel me yet, Sway.
Water and sand made the Grand Canyon.
He ain't feel me
bro,
yet, Sway.
You gotta think about it, Sway. What is
I would never ask a nigga to spell a word, but goddamn it, if I need to build a
made out
page.
of granite. Granite is cut with diamonds nowadays, bro. But you know the rocks that was built with the pyramids is not granite, right? You know what they are, right? You know what type of rocks those are, right?
Sandstone.
No.
Which can be, like he said, no.
Oh my god, damn this nigga.
And when you think about what he said,
Oh, John the Baptist, don't get in this, John the Baptist. It's a weird, bro. Stay with me. Stay with me. Don't go over there to that side.
Mayo, Google
no,
that shit.
I'm actually
Limestone.
agreeing with. I'm actually understanding what he's saying because guess what he's saying. Because you think about how beaches are saying.
So what I will find it and put in the back for you on
Stay
how they
with
get
me
how you
over
can
here,
use
man.
copper and sand and water to cut limestone, sir. I'll put it in the back for you.
OG is full of shit.
No. That's actually true.
Yeah.
That's
the granite sheets were actually put over top of it.
Yeah. But I mean that's
Not
neither
how it
here
works
nor
with the pyramid rocks.
all I want y'all to know, right, is that this was a good goddamn video by Kingdom Miner who brought it to the forefront. Thank you, Kingdom Miner.
That shit was weak.
No, I like the video.
I'm just hating.
The video was actually interesting because when I'm stumped and I can't have a cohesive argument against it, I literally am kind of frustrated. I am frustrated, but I don't have a bullshit argument to go against it. I would say it was a pretty good video.
That was a good video, Kingdom Minded.
It was.
I add that to the collection that I normally watch anyway. I add that one to the collection.
Negro, please.
Now
Everything has a frequency. Everything has a modulation. Everything has a wavelength. Okay. And when it comes down to the stones back in the day, I mean, as far as I know, for all I know that anybody knows, all those stones that we see today were actually wood back in the day. All right. And it was just been petrified over time. For all we know. Okay. And when it comes down to vibration and modulation and all that stuff, everything has it. If you can vibrate something to its resonant frequency, you can actually change its molecular consistency when it comes down to you can change stone into mud, or you can actually make stone itself lighter than air. You know, it's just depending on frequency. Everything has it.
I want you to.
Everything.
I want these motherfuckers to give me this frequency that this bug is using because I want to start pissing out smoke out of my ass.
Noxious spray of benzoquinone and other compounds that can reach temperatures of over 100 degrees Celsius. It's a powerful defense mechanism that can deter even the most determined predators. But that's not all the bombardier beetle has going for it. This little insect also has special muscles and valves in its abdomen that help it aim its spray accurately, so it can hit its target with precision. And even more impressively, it can produce multiple bursts of spray in rapid succession, giving it a fighting chance against larger predators. So why does the bombardier beetle need such a powerful defense mechanism? Well, like many insects, it's a favorite food of many predators, including birds, spiders, and other insects. By using its chemical spray, the bombardier beetle can protect itself and survive to see another day. Thanks for watching. And
so, to say that if a beetle can do it, to say that we didn't have dragons that actually breathe fire and shit, it's not far fucking fetched. It is not far fetched, and that's all I want to say. So I also said I believed in dragons, so I did believe in dragons more than I believed in goddamn dinosaurs. So we'll go that way. Okay, so the next one I want to talk about, well, I want to listen and watch, is about Edgar Cayce or whatever. I think it's Cayce. And this is coming from good old Artie for the win.
The start and end of both world wars, the lifting of the Great Depression, the death of 2 U.S. presidents. Edgar Cayce predicted all of these events.
Edgar Cayce made predictions about the world's past, present, and future. He predicted the evolution of the human race, the deaths of 2 American presidents, the rise of China, and the fall of communism in Europe, among other things.
He said that China would become the world economic power, that civilization would move to China. Now, when he said that in the 20s and 30s, no one would have believed it. But now it's like, oh yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen.
However, critics have attacked some of his predictions that have lapsed. For instance, he claimed Jesus would return by the year 2000. This has created a lot of controversy, and many ask, was Edgar Cayce a real prophet? What are his claims for this year? But before we answer these questions, let's start by revealing the man behind the myth.
Okay, so I'm stopping right there. I don't care about the man behind the myth right now. John the Baptist, this is why I said Edgar Cayce said that Jesus was to come back in the year 2000. Is it far-fetched that Jesus was born in the year 2000 again?
It's far-fetched to believe that, yes. According to biblical belief, yes. Because it's not going to be a question when Jesus comes back. He's not going to be born. He's not going to be born. Go ahead.
Oh, you said he's not going to be born again? Is that what it said in the Bible?
Yeah, he's not going to be born. When he comes back, he's going back in the same full body. And it's not going to be any doubt who he is and what he's coming back for.
I'm asking a question. Did it say in a biblical term that he will not be reborn again?
I don't know. I had to go look for I don't think a verse says that. No, I don't.
According to the Bible, we would have to go through Armageddon before Jesus comes back anyway.
So, in other words, it's not that far fetched that he was reborn.
No. Okay, so I'll answer the question wrong. It's most definitely understood that he will not be reborn again.
How?
That I can find if you give me a few minutes, I can find the verse that would tell you that when he comes back, he won't be reborn. I gotta go look for the verse though.
Please do, because I'm in the thing that's saying that it's possible that he could have been born in the year 2000 and now is at full adulthood 24 years later.
Hey,
That
Tom,
could be possible.
maybe he was aborted in the year 2000.
Oh my God.
I don't know.
I think it's
the devil
pretty
worshippers
interesting that the Bible
love
doesn't
abortion.
have any records of Jesus being a teenager.
Well, I don't know. I'm not a Bible thumper like that. Go ahead, go ahead, Mayo.
I mean, the devil worshippers and all them love abortion, so maybe that's why.
You ain't shit. Kingdom Minded said yes. What are you saying yes to, Kingdom Minded? Absolutely not. He couldn't be born again. Don't know, man. I believe in reincarnation, so it's possible that he's gonna come back in a human flesh body that was born. I think that's the way it's gonna be. What do you? So you don't? Okay, John Baptist looking at LA. What do you think, sir?
I ain't touching this one with a 10-foot pole, sir. I'm letting y'all have this one.
Why not?
I let you heathens go to hell a little faster than what I will be. So y'all got it.
How's that going to hell? I'm just asking a question.
I mean,
Hell's empty anyway.
Yeah, it wasn't even a. Do you believe in it? I'm asking, is it plausible that Jesus was born again into a human body, born out of a JJ?
No.
Okay, so he's gonna come back a grown ass man.
So go to, if you can pull up Acts 1:11.
Acts 1:11.
I think the only way he'd come back as a grown ass man if he was genetically enhanced.
Oh shit! You said Acts what? 111.
1:11. Acts chapter 1. Acts chapter 1, verse 11.
Oh, okay, that's
my bad. My bad. My bad. I forgot I was talking to a heathen. My bad.
Hey, just because you say it 111 don't mean it's 111.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. I forgot I gotta say chapter 1, verse 11. My bad.
All right, so Acts 1:11 says New International Version of okay, whatever. Hold on,
King James version, but I don't know what you're reading now, but go ahead.
Well, it says, men of Galilee, they said, why do you stand here looking at the sky? The same Jesus who has been taken from you into heaven will come back in the same way you have seen him go into heaven. Okay. All right. All right. Well,
that's more verses. There are more verses than that, but that's just the one I can find easiest right now.
I mean, that may okay. Well, going off what I just read, it makes sense. Okay. You answered that. So that's why you believe he's gonna come back as a man.
But nobody saw him go to heaven.
No, they actually did. There are disciples that saw him go to heaven. That's in I gotta go find it because I read it. I think that's when Peter actually touched Thomas actually touched the wounds because he didn't think he was real. That would be that's also in Acts. It's in Acts 2. I found it in Acts. Give me a second to find it. It's in Acts.
Jesus left through a portal like a Stargate. Jesus and Noah were one part of the Anunnaki.
Okay. All right. Hey, Anarchy. That's next, sir. That is next, sir. Let's get this going.
Well, we can't see shit, Tom.
Oh shit! You can't even hear shit, can you?
No.
I'm sitting there looking at this shit. Y'all ain't saying nothing. Good job, Mayo.
It's a shoddy operation, man.
Edgar Casey was born in 1877. But unlike other children who played a lot, young Edgar loved to study the mysteries of the Bible, constantly seeking answers in its ancient text. At times, he studied outdoors in the Kentucky woods. At a very young age, while studying the Bible, he claimed to have found fairy-like beings, little folk who seemed more spirit than human. At 11, He also claimed that a winged woman appeared before him in a vision, asking what he desired most in life. Edgar's response surprises you. He asked for the ability to help others, particularly sick children. This encounter marked the beginning of his life in prophecies. That wasn't his last encounter with the winged woman. Edgar had struggles in school as a kid. His family were worried, especially his dad. When his father scolded him about his grades, Edgar felt sad. He lay down and somehow heard the voice of the winged woman again. She told him to sleep with his head on his textbooks this time. Strangely, when he did this, he could remember everything he read after waking up. Another time, Edgar got hurt at school,
Yeah, that shit's on the
injuring his
court right
back
there.
so badly he couldn't move. His family was terrified. Then, one night, while half asleep, Edgar spoke out loud about a recipe for medicine made from herbs. His parents, desperate to help him, decided to try
Well,
it.
one of y'all mics is
Everyone's
terrible.
amazement, Edgar was completely healed the next day, as if he'd never been hurt. These experiences hinted at Edgar's unusual abilities that would later unfold dramatically. Motivated by his desire to help others and his newfound confidence in his abilities, Edgar Cayce began to offer psychic readings. But unlike other prophets of his time, Edgar Cayce's predictions were not restricted to a single form of prophecy. He covered a vast range of issues, from health and wellness, spirituality and past lives, ancient civilizations, and future technologies. The exploits of the sleeping prophet knew no bounds.
That's what they call him, a sleeper.
Get ready for the most epic moment of the video. Fulfilled
Acts 1, 9, and 11.
prophecies.
It's the same. It's the same chapter.
In 1902,
Tom.
a young girl with a severe head injury was brought to him. Doctors thought she wouldn't survive, but Cayce said her real problem was with her spine, not her brain. He suggested the doctors adjust her spine.
He would read the body as though he were an X-ray machine. And the terminology that he used was quite medical. It's quite amazing.
Surprisingly, the girl improved within a few months. That's not all. Cayce also used his gifts for the betterment of the economy. 1929, the stock market was about to crash, but Cayce knew it was coming. He told his friends to sell their stocks, and those who listened saved a lot of money.
People would slip in a question about who's going to win a horse race or what's going to happen in the stock market. And he would answer them, much to their profit.
A few years later, he even said the economy would improve by 1933, and guess what? He was right again. In 1934, he said Hitler would become an influential leader in Germany. This happened later that same year. Cayce added that Hitler's rule wouldn't last
So did
forever,
Time magazine.
and a war from outside Germany
Absolutely,
would
it
end his
did.
empire. He also predicted a significant war would erupt at the heart of Europe, and Germany started the Second World War, which eventually led to the end of Hitler's reign. He predicted rightly that Germany, Austria, and Japan would team up.
Cayce predicted that there would be an alliance between the Austrians, the Germans, and the Japanese. He says in the reading, and unless there is interference from the divine, the whole world will be set on fire.
He said the war would be big, involving many countries, and the US would join in 1941. Almost all his predictions came to pass with fantastic precision. In 1938, Cayce suggested there might be ruins from an ancient civilization under the ocean near Bimini in the Bahamas. He indicated that the city was Atlantis, a super advanced city from history.
Edgar Cayce saw Atlantis as a massive continent in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean.
Interestingly, some underwater stones were found in Bimini in 1968, which some researchers believe may support Cayce's prophecies. Cayce added that Atlantis was a vast civilization with technology more advanced than ours, but it disappeared under the ocean about 10,000 years ago due to a great flood. Was this the flood recorded by the Bible during the days of Noah? Tell us what you think in the comment section. His following predictions are even more surprising. One of Cayce's most famous predictions was about the 44th president of the United States. He said this president would be African American, which came true with Barack Obama's election. Cayce also predicted the deaths of Presidents John F. Kennedy and Franklin D. Roosevelt. He foresaw civil rights and race issues leading to social unrest in the U.S. during the 1960s. Casey was not blind to the realities of the Cold War. During the peak of the Soviet Union's power, Casey claimed that, from Russia comes the hope of the world, not in the context of communism, but of freedom. He said this hope would take time, but Russia would eventually break free. Remarkably, the Soviet Union dissolved and abandoned communism in 1991. Another shocking example is the Jewish sect known as the Essenes. In 1934, when very little was known about them, Casey provided detailed descriptions of the sect, which were later confirmed to be accurate. He even predicted that their records and documents would be discovered. Just 12 years later, the Dead Sea Scrolls, written by the Essenes, were found, lending credence to Casey's claims. All these grim predictions of Edgar Casey came to pass in the 20th century. Fortunately, Edgar also made some gloomy predictions for us today. Are you ready for the biggest shock of your life? Here we go. Future predictions. Edgar Casey made dramatic predictions about changes to the geography of the Earth. He said continents would shift, and the climate would transform the world in ways we could never imagine. He suggested this shift could occur simultaneously when volcanoes erupt at Mount Etna in Italy and Mount Pelée in Martinique. Both volcanoes are indeed active. Mount Etna is one of the most active volcanoes in the world, and it recently erupted just a few months ago.
A very different kind of light show was on display in Italy. Mount Etna is erupting again, sending hot lava down its snow-covered slopes. It is Europe's most active volcano.
Mount Pelée is also considered an active volcano, though its last major eruption was in 1902. One of the most critical aspects of this shift would occur in Africa. Casey claims that the continent will split into 3 separate parts. This division, he claimed, would be caused by a massive new waterway forming as the Nile River widened and the Red Sea grew significantly. This dramatic change could even submerge the bustling city of Cairo beneath the sea. According to Casey, Asia wouldn't escape these upheavals either. Think about changes in the geography of India, China, Japan, Korea, and the Philippines as we know it today. Casey predicted that the Pacific Ocean would move and swallow large parts of land from the Philippines to Japan. This aqua invasion would submerge most of Japan, with only a handful remaining islands. That's not all. The Korean peninsula and parts of China's coastline would also succumb to the rising seas. For India, Casey offered a definite warning. He advised against seeking refuge in the country's higher elevations due to potential land buckling. Instead, he believed the Himalayas
God
and
damn it, John the
Tibet and
Baptist.
Nepal would offer a safer haven for the Indians. Casey also made some not-so-beautiful predictions for Antarctica. Despite its harsh conditions, Antarctica supports a lot of wildlife, including penguins, seals, whales, and seabirds. The Antarctica ice sheet provides essential habitats for many of these species and breeding grounds for their young ones. It also shelters them from predators and provides access to food. But Casey said Antarctica would shed its icy coat, transforming into a lush, green expanse, perfect only for agriculture. However, he said Australia wouldn't be as lucky. He predicted flooding would claim a quarter of its land, turning the Adelaide area into a submerged city and, ironically, changing its arid deserts like Simpson and Gibson into fertile farmland. On the other hand, he predicted that New Zealand would escape unscathed and expand. He said New Zealand will connect with Australia to become a haven for those displaced by the global upheavals. We don't mean to break your heart, but even Europe would have its share of this geographical disruption.
That's America.
What you are about to hear will blow
Hey,
your
Tom.
mind.
Yes, sir.
That's why all the rich
Casey
people are building
foresaw
in
much
New
of
Zealand.
Northern Europe,
That's a
including
fact.
Norway, Sweden, Finland, and Denmark, submerging, leaving behind a fragmented archipelago of islands. The United Kingdom wouldn't fare much better, with vast areas from Scotland down to the English Channel succumbing to the rising seas. However, he said some pockets of high ground, including London and Birmingham, might manage to cling to survival. Finally, he predicted Ireland would be almost entirely swallowed by the ocean, with only the highest peaks remaining above the waterline. This may be good news for lovers of oceans because the Earth's waters are about to get bigger. Casey predicted a new sea would form by merging the Caspian, Black, and Baltic seas. This will effectively cut Russia from mainland Europe and stretch to Siberia. He said this would position Russia as the food basket of Europe because much of its land would become a fertile agricultural powerhouse. The most shocking part was yet to come. If you are not tired of Edgar Casey's obsessions with continental drift, here's another one. He predicted a complete change in the geography of North America. He claims Canada would see its coastline expand by a staggering 200 miles, transforming regions like Quebec, Ontario, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and parts of Alberta into safe havens for those displaced from Asia and Europe. According to his forecasts, the North American plate will shift, and this movement will create a chain of nearly 150 new islands off the coast of California. This seismic shift would also see the West Coast migrate eastward towards Nebraska, Wyoming, and Colorado. But what about the lakes? Casey believed the Great Lakes and the St. Lawrence River wouldn't be spared either. They would merge into a single body of water flowing from the Mississippi River to the Gulf of Mexico. The East Coast wouldn't be so fortunate. Casey predicted extensive flooding along the entire coastline,
Yeah, they gotta
from
get
Maine
rid of
to
New York.
Florida, submerging much land. The coasts of Mexico would also suffer from this aqua invasion. He said the shores of
I'm gonna have
Mexico will
oceanfront properties,
submerge under
Tom.
the rising seas. What we are about to reveal sounds scary. Casey claims that the Baja California Peninsula would be fractured into a collection of islands.
Absolutely.
He warned that these dramatic changes would displace and potentially kill billions of people.
Oh well.
The surprising fact is that he claims that even the quiet rural lands of Kentucky will not be immune to the coming devastation. Casey predicted that there would be a dramatic extension of human lifespans, with people living for as long as several centuries. While we live longer than people did in Casey's time, living for centuries seems far from our current reality.
That's a big
Another prediction is about a major
Notice he didn't say
global
nothing about
conflict.
Texas and Oklahoma.
Casey believes
Hey.
that the Persian Gulf will be the flashing point of the conflict. He suggested that countries like Libya, Egypt, Syria, and even the waters near Australia will experience active hostility. Thankfully, such a large-scale war hasn't started yet. Perhaps the most unusual prediction involved China. Casey sees it rising to a global leadership position, even becoming the cradle of Christianity or a significant center for Christianity. He acknowledged that this transformation would take many generations, but China would ultimately become a dominant force in the Christian world. Casey also had some controversial beliefs about the past and future of humanity. He predicted a westward to eastward movement of civilization, with China taking the lead. His most controversial prediction involved human origins. He said 5 distinct human races were created simultaneously at different locations on Earth. According to him, life began at the same time with these races that were white, black, red, brown, and yellow. God placed each strategically across the globe. He claimed that the red people were the Atlanteans who resided on a lost continent called Lemuria. He believed they evolved faster and developed technology faster than any other race. Casey also claims that Native Americans were directly related to the lost civilization of Atlantis, specifically the Cherokee people. However,
I don't believe that shit at all. Them niggas is dumb. My bad.
The Cherokees have a long history, going back about 12,000 years, which is close to when Atlantis supposedly sank. Casey claims that the survivors of Atlantis fled to the Americas and became the Cherokee and Inca. But that's not all. He also believed in another lost land called Lemuria, located between Europe and America. According to him, people from Lemuria also fled and ended up in Greece, founding the Mycenaean civilization. He even thought they might have shared their advanced engineering skills with the Egyptians at some point. But his next suggestions will challenge everything you think you know. He said we are still going to evolve from our current form. He said there has been a progressive evolutionary leap that began a staggering 18 million years ago. He believed life itself emerged when the spirit transformed into matter. Further, he claimed that humanity underwent a significant evolutionary jump between 10,000 BC and 3000 BC. Edgar Cayce's ideas about the evolution of humankind did not exist in the past. He spoke of a future where we would boast significant advancements. According to him, a new phase of human progress began in 3000 BC and is expected to continue until our current era or the year 2400 CE. He believed we would achieve significant leaps in our knowledge and understanding during this period. But the next prediction of Cayce is even more unbelievable. He claims there would be a dramatic transformation around the year 8000. By then, humans would have gone past the limitations of our minds, reaching a point where traditional societal structures and even schools would become obsolete. In this future, humanity would evolve into a race of enlightened super beings.
Super beings, baby.
However, it is essential to note that Cayce made some very controversial prophecies that never came to pass. Even his biggest fans have denounced some of them. For example, he said that souls came to Earth and mixed with animals to create giant people 12 feet tall. He also thought a giant crystal powered by the sun ran the lost civilization of Atlantis. There is no proof of either event. Another prediction was that the US would find a death ray in 1958, the same kind that supposedly destroyed Atlantis 12,000 years ago. In the 1930s, he said giant earthquakes would ruin Los Angeles and San Francisco, but those cities are still here. Those aren't his only predictions that have failed. For instance, while many religions, like Christianity and Islam, talk about Jesus coming back to Earth someday, none of them provide a definite date. Edgar Cayce also had his guess about when Jesus would return. He said it would happen in the year 2000. Well, it's 2024 now, and Jesus hasn't shown up yet. It turns out that Edgar and other people who had made predictions about this were wrong. Some other folks who guessed wrong include religious leader Frank Cherry, Pastor Ed Dobson, and even Timothy Dwight, the president of Yale University, way back in the 1700s. Cayce's followers haven't explained why these predictions didn't come true. What do you think about these claims? Support and criticism of Edgar Cayce. Even after almost a century, Cayce's predictions continue to spark debate. Some of his believers view them as prophetic insights into the future, brimming with events that will eventually come to pass. Others dismiss them as lucky guesses or mere flights of fancy. His work left an undeniable mark on the history of the world. It inspired countless books and support groups, and I fervently desire to understand his worldview and potential insights into what's to become our world. Today, experts across various fields are investigating Edgar Cayce's work, seeking to understand the mysteries of his motivations. Was he tapping into a universal truth, or simply gifted with an extraordinary mind that reasons too far? Cayce delivered over 14,000 readings, and with such a vast number, there's a statistical chance of some predictions aligning with real-world events. However, critics point out that these hits often receive more attention than the misses. Additionally, Cayce's use of vague language and terms like perhaps and maybe is a tactic sometimes employed by fortune tellers. This approach allows people to interpret general statements as though it applies to any circumstances that may arise. Critics also mentioned that Cayce would often get letters from people who were sick. He would then go into a trance and try to help them by telling them what was wrong. The problem was that Cayce didn't realize that some of these people had already died by the time he did his trance readings. Cayce's supporters say that if these people had followed his advice when they were still alive, they wouldn't have died. That might be true, but there's another issue. Shouldn't they have let him know the person was already dead if Cayce was talking to spirits or the universe? It seems strange that these readings only happened after the person died. Also, whenever Cayce's predictions were wrong, there was always an excuse. For example, he once gave a specific location for buried pirate treasure. People went everywhere looking for it, but there was no treasure. Casey's supporters said that maybe the ghosts of pirates or Native Americans were trying to trick everyone. It seems a bit convenient to blame unseen spirits whenever things don't go according to plan. Despite the skepticism, Casey still has his fervent defenders. The key argument of his supporters also includes the accuracy of some of his diagnoses and advice to sick people, even though he lacked formal medical training. Such instances and the general love of psychic phenomena contribute to his enduring legacy. A recent poll showed that nearly half of all Americans surveyed believe in some form of extrasensory perception or psychic ability. The same poll also reveals the diversity in mindsets of his believers and skeptics. Those who don't believe in psychics tend to be more analytical and critical thinkers, while believers often lean towards emotional and creative thinking styles. Interestingly, the poll also found that believers reported experiencing greater happiness and lower stress levels than skeptics.
Yeah,
the truth
Mayo.
is that psychic abilities and religious miracles cannot be explained by science. There's no denying they can comfort those who grieve, hope for those facing struggles, and even structure a chaotic world.
Free Palestine.
So, does the supernatural exist? That's a question no one can answer for sure.
Oh, don't get me
Most
started. That shit'll
psychics
catch you,
probably are
Andy.
phonies, just trying to make money off people in pain. But Edgar Casey was different. He never charged a penny and genuinely wanted to help others.
Oh, he wasn't real.
Whether
He wasn't
his
real
powers
hook
were
nose.
natural or just strong imagination, it doesn't matter. What matters is that he dedicated his life to helping others.
Why? I
We
can.
need more
I
people
bet you.
like that today.
I bet you
People
Mayo.
see
I bet
themselves
you
as
Mayo
part
wore
of
his cell
something
phone like
bigger,
that too.
not the center of the universe. We need more folks willing to look out for each other. Real or not, the world could use a lot more Edgar Casey, but ultimately, whether
That's a
Edgar
hook
Casey
nose.
was a genuine psychic
No,
remains
sir.
unanswered.
No.
There's no
He's a
right or
Christian
wrong
from
answer.
Kentucky.
Some find
Yeah, his
comfort
daddy
and
was a hook
meaning in the
nose. I could
belief
tell
systems
one a mile
surrounding
away.
psychics, while others align with logic and reason. For those who stayed with us to the end, here's an extra. Do you know why Edgar Casey was often called the sleeping prophet? This was because he delivered most of his readings in a trance-like state. Imagine the wealth of knowledge we could unlock if we learned to tap into our subconscious minds like Casey. Ready to watch other captivating stories? If you
Nope.
Imagine if we could transfer all our knowledge by pretending to sleep.
Oh my God, man. You're such a non-believer in anything.
Yes, sir.
God. Just believe, sir.
Belief
No.
is always always in conflict and the enemy of knowing.
Well, you gotta believe in something. Just
Can't
like
believe
I
he
don't-
was a shill, sir.
Mayo.
Mayo and Wingnut is some Debbie Downers. Jesus Christ,
Do you believe that you can bend bullets? I do.
sir. No, we're not doing this dumb shit again.
I believe we can bend bullets. God damn it!
Why y'all some Debbie Downers, man?
Let me try to bend these bullets on you, Mayo.
I think you can bend them with your mind, Tom.
That's what I'm saying.
I think you could move them around with your mind. Sir.
Okay.
I think if you shot straight up in the air and thought hard enough, it would hit the target in front of you.
Dude, hypnosis and the like are real. That's true. I wanted to learn hypnosis because I'll be just yeah. Don't let me learn how to hypnotize a motherfucker.
They say it don't really put you in a under. It just puts you kind of like in a psychedelic trance.
I've been put under in that.
Yeah, sir. You was just high.
I was not high. I don't smoke, dude. What the fuck was I high on?
You talk about how you used to smoke weed all the time.
No, I said I smoke weed every now and again.
Yeah, but you still have to believe in the shit.
So you only went into a trance a little bit.
I went into a full trance. Done. Now it's like that.
Yeah, see what I'm saying? Yeah, he yeah.
I'm one of those. I'm a believer, sir.
See,
I
you
believe
gotta
in
believe in
hypnosis.
it.
I believe
The
in
thing
hypnosis.
about belief is that you can believe anything. Like you can believe the sky is pink, purple polka dots all you want. Doesn't make it true.
Yeah, it
You
does.
know?
It's true to
No,
you.
it don't.
Yeah, it's true to
It's
you.
true to you. See what people forget
But
is
that's not living in reality. That's living in a lie.
So what
it's
what
just
color is the
living in
sky?
their
Sir?
reality.
What color is the sky, sir?
It's actually transparent. If you want to know the truth,
How do you know it's transparent?
because when the sun goes down, you can see right through it. And the only reason you can't see it through it during the daytime is because the light refracts off of all the molecules in the air.
Refract. Oh, so that's what you believe. Are those
And
refracted?
it looks blue because of the reflection from the oceans.
Ah, so what is it reflecting off of again? Maybe a dome? Maybe a dome?
No, sir. No, sir. The ocean.
Yeah, that
Dome,
dumb shit,
sir.
yeah.
No, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Free Palestine. Boy, got me acting like I hate the Jews out here.
Oh man, I seen this guy.
Hell, the Jews have been a problem for thousands of years anyway.
Absolutely.
Actually, the not necessarily the actually it's more the Orthodox Jews.
No, you're right. No, don't change it. Jews been the
The
problem.
Orthodox Jews. I'm saying because there's a difference
All
between
of
Jewish people and Orthodox Jews.
No, it's not.
There is a difference.
No,
I
it's
mean,
not.
you probably a hoot at a party, ain't you? You probably make everybody feel good. Probably make everybody feel good at a party. Him and Mayo. You believe in something, they shoot you down.
I don't
God
believe.
damn.
I rely on knowing. I don't rely on belief.
Yeah, I feel you.
I rely on knowing and belief.
Oh, shut up.
Okay, take us back to
OG, you hear me tell John the Baptist stay out your conversation?
these giant.
He ain't want to listen.
The Anunnaki.
That motherfucker
Oh,
about
I
to
was going to send you this video, but I couldn't find it.
These are
God
aliens.
damn it, I'm
These
glad
are
you got it.
aliens. Now, what's interesting about these aliens is that they're not little green men with antenna.
Yeah.
They're actually hominids, bilateral bipedal hominids. They look just like us.
Okay.
You slice them in half. They have two forward-face-looking eyes, two hands, legs. They put their pants on one leg at a time, like us.
But do they look more like us or more like
Come on, bro.
us?
They look like we look like them.
Okay.
We actually look like them.
Okay.
And the reason why is because we have their genetics and their DNA inside of our bodies.
Mm.
Now, what's interesting is these beings were a spacefaring race that broke away from the Pleiadian star system.
Oh,
The Pleiadian star system is a group of stars called the Seven Sisters in the night sky. You can see 6 stars with the naked eye. Now, these stars in ancient times, according to ancient texts and tablets, there was an ancient galactic war there.
Okay.
Most of the information from Star Wars comes from this text. And this war, they had these destroyers like Death Stars. They don't call them that, but they call them the Brahma Astra and Brahma Astra Honda weapons that actually can release a weapon that can destroy planets.
Okay.
Imagine if you're in a star system and a planet is being blown up and you're in a nearby planet.
Okay.
I gotta pause. Where the fuck did he get these names and shit from? Don't get this shit, dog.
Tom, you got to read books. That's what it is. Most people don't read books anymore, man. Everybody's relying on Google to tell you what the hell's going on. You got to read books.
I try to get time to read.
Hold on, they talked about space weapons that can take out a whole solar system.
In Star Wars.
In a whole planet, not a whole solar system, a whole planet.
A whole planet. You seen these weapons with your own eyes?
Yes, sir. They're made out of naquium, sir. Didn't you watch Stargate?
No.
Yeah, what is that? And have we found it yet? You remember tell you like I told Illuminated, man, when you find that shit that's better than what we got, you let me know where it is. Because I haven't seen now fuel or nothing like that we have created up here that can shoot from out of our orbit.
If any of that stuff was ever found, do you think they would actually make that public?
Absolutely.
It's not even about making it public. If they can find it, that means somebody else can stumble upon it.
Seriously, now, do you think anybody would make that public if that was actually found? Any kind of a tool of any kind of advanced tooling, machinery, how they constructed the buildings back in the day, any of that stuff. Do you think they'd actually make that stuff public? If they actually found anything that was considered a quote unquote flying saucer, do you think they'd make that fucking shit public?
Yes.
Because quite honestly, man, put it this way, if any of that stuff was ever found, especially here in the U.S., it would be considered a national security risk even making it public, because if anybody else had that technology, they can just boop, come in, drop something, boop, drop that back out. You know, that's why they don't want to make this kind of stuff public.
Oh,
You know,
Jay, let me.
you know, 0 point
We
energy.
ain't nut. Think about what you just said, bro. If you
damn.
have something that goddamn advanced, sir, who on this goddamn earth is gonna know how to work it? We already lost a nigga with the wheelchair.
It's called reverse
No,
engineering.
We ain't getting into that no more. No. Oh, y'all always got
It's called reverse engineering. It's the same.
Boy,
It's the same thing that the
that shit
Japanese did to our televisions.
Right.
Right. That's the reason why the Japanese televisions are more advanced, or they've outdone United States televisions and stuff like that over the years. It's because they took our first television that we invented, or we come up with, and reverse engineered it, figured out how every part worked and what it did, and then they made it better. That's exactly what they're doing with the technology that they find now. Hell, there has been many different crashes all over the damn planet for some reason, and a lot of the one of the reasons that one of the theories, I guess you would say, the reasons why these things that came from wherever actually crashed is because when nuclear bombs were going off, it was actually disrupting their guidance system, and that was the reason why they fell to the ground. Because you think about it, if you can actually make a ship that can go from this planet to wherever, all right, it doesn't matter, like, you know, any other solar system, any other galaxy, or any other dimension, you know, you're gonna have to make that thing pretty damn robust, because you're not gonna be able to call AAA to come pick you up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but see, even saying that sounds good and all, but the crazy part about that is, if something is moving that fast and doing all that good shit, when they get here, how you say it? Make sure I don't fuck it up, because I was about to fuck it all the way up. Re-engineer. How we just reverse engineer something that they can't even get into.
Well, that's what it is. What do you know what reverse engineering means? You completely take it completely apart, figure out what each piece is, what it does, and how it works.
Wingnut. I understand that, bro. I can take a whole engine apart and put it back in my car. I get what you're saying. I could take a TV apart.
Can you build one for yourself?
Listen what I'm saying. Okay. Something that's moving that strong and has that density of a material coming from a whole nother planet, something that's strong enough to do all that shit that we can't do right now with nothing that we have here. It's better than a diamond, better than everything that we got. How the fuck can we get into it? How can we cut this material? You're basically saying they're going to bring something from outer space, bring it here, and we're going to use what we have to bro, come the fuck on, bro.
Well, because we're being helped by these people. We're being helped by these beings.
I knew it was something.
No, we are.
I knew it had to be something, bro, because you can't.
Where do you
tell
think
me,
some of this technology came from? You know, we didn't even have ballpoint pens and Velcro before the first Roswell crash. All right?
Was it here though, bro?
I'm just saying. There's certain technologies that was given. Even the Anunnaki back in the day actually gave the knowledge of weapons, on how to create weapons, how to create beer and stuff like that. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that was just knowledge. They didn't give us this technology. They didn't give us the actual stuff. They gave us the knowledge of this stuff, on how to use it, how to produce it on our own planet.
I get that.
All right.
I get that.
The Anunnaki ruined the Irish.
But you're still missing the point, bro.
Anunnaki were just a civilization of people. They were just a conglomeration of
some bullshit. It's a different material, dog. It's nothing that we have here. Everything that you're talking about that we have engineered and re-engineered and all that shit there, bro, it was here. It comes from here.
Exactly.
We don't have, listen to what I'm saying, bro. We don't have a chunk of Mars that we got here. We don't have a chunk of nothing else around the solar system here. We don't know what that metal is like out there, bro, far distance, bro, that somebody else got. So how can you say that the strongest material that we got to cut with is going to be able to cut theirs?
It
don't work like that,
I said,
bro. You only can construct the stuff that you have here.
We have had help. We've had help from the beginning.
My God.
All right. Dude, I mean, seriously, there's been many different. Okay, look at what Bob Lazar was saying when he was in that sucker. With stuff that he was actually saw, and when he was in Area 51. All right. Nobody can discredit it. Everybody's trying to actually sit there and say he's full of shit, but nobody can actually prove that he is lying or he is full of shit. They just say he's full of shit. You know.
There's a lot of
The
shit
reason-
that's unproven.
Huh?
There's a lot of shit that's unproven. The Bible is unproven, but people say it's full of shit.
Well, no, the Bible is based on faith, and faith is for the weak.
No matter
All
how
right?
you look at it, it's still unproven. Just like dinosaurs are unproven. Just like a lot of
Well,
shit.
all right. The only thing about dinosaurs is, okay, where do you get the fossilized bones of these things? I'm not saying that you find a whole damn skeleton or anything like that, because you haven't found a skeleton. You found fossils. All right. Fossils are actually older than skeletons. All right. And even then, I'm like, okay, you can believe whatever you want. Like I said, you can believe the sky is purple polka dots with red stripes in it. I don't care. It doesn't make it real. It doesn't make it true. You know? And it's like I said, you're trying to actually explain the planet and our history and our whole universe by digging in our backyard. You need to actually go more than that and actually go further than that. The only thing is, archaeologists and scientists have been holding all of us back because they got a narrative. They want to control the narrative. That's the same thing with religious Bible. All right, the religious, the whole
Just like you
religion
can cut into a
altogether
foreign
is to
material with the
control. It's
materials
another
that you
bit of
have here on
control
Earth.
mechanism.
Impossible.
That's all it is. It's a control mechanism. I have
Even
to
with the
admit,
help from
like the
other
Bible and all
even
other
help with
types of
even help with
religious
other
texts.
materials from other places, you're still gonna have to engineer that equipment to even do that. So if you get just say if they had just say if a space gun come down here, bro, and that space gun is more powerful than anything that we have on here, they can blow up the sun. Do you think we have anything capable here on Earth that we can make, no matter what size, that can control what the power to blow up the sun is?
Well, okay.
Just answer that.
Was it?
Just answer that. Or
is it-
do we have to get in our planes, re-engineer, reverse engineer their shit, go to their planet and steal their shit to build that motherfucker?
No, we would use what materials we have on this planet to actually try and do what they'd used on theirs.
You didn't catch
All
what I
right,
was
for
saying.
instance,
You still didn't catch what I was saying. How
Okay,
would
go
you
ahead.
re-engineer? How would you reverse engineer something if you can't take the motherfucker apart? Because you have
Well,
nothing to take the motherfucker apart with.
how would you know how to take it apart or not? I mean, how would you know
That's
that it
the
can't be
point.
taken
You
apart?
don't know, because if
How
you
would
look
you
at
know that it
something like-
can't be taken apart?
If
Like
you
if you
have
found a
something of a
crash, if
massive
you found an
weapon like that-
airplane, if you found an airplane that just crashed out there in the damn desert somewhere and it's all in pieces, all right? What do you have to try and cut open to try and figure it out? It's all pieces and parts and stuff laying around.
How do you know it'll be in pieces? Because I guarantee if it can fly through, if it can fly through different spaces and different planets, that means their shit is way stronger than ours and nothing on our
No,
Not
because
material.
they're bending space. They're actually making portals.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Well, I mean, seriously, what do you? How would you? You cannot actually travel using rockets going out there. They're not using rockets.
So
Okay.
they're not going through the dome.
There's no fucking dome. We're not living in the Truman Show. Get that out of your head.
Well, it says in the Bible there's a dome over it. And every culture.
No, it doesn't. You read the book of Enoch and they'll tell you straight up what it is.
What is it?
It's a big ball. We're on a big ball.
Okay, well, it's funny as you say that because every religion before that didn't say we were on a big ball.
What
Matter of fact,
religion? What
the
religion?
Earth was flat.
No, what religion says that?
All of them.
Which one? Well, name one that says that, and direct me where it says we live on a big flat plane. Because nothing in nature is flat. Nothing in nature has a straight line.
That's a lot.
Everything in nature has a curve to it. Everything in nature has a spiral.
This wood table is flat as fuck.
No.
Absolutely.
That is not a natural thing. That table you're sitting in front is not of nature. It's not made by nature.
It's wood.
It's made by man.
No, it's made. It's wood. It was birthed into this world, and we cut it to what the fuck we wanted to. So yeah,
Right.
it's
But that tree did not grow straight. It doesn't have straight lines. It doesn't have a fucking flat plane. Okay? Even if you want to say water is not fucking flat. Even if it's at calm state, it's still not flat. All right. There is nothing in nature, nothing that is natural has flat or straight lines in it. All right. When you look up into the sky and you look up in a damn telescope and you see all those things out there, do any of those things look like a damn saucer disc to you?
Sir, the firmament is a vast solid dome created by God. And it was created by God on the second day of creation. The firmament divides the primal waters in the upper and lower portions. The word firmament is found in the King James Version.
Okay, that's all bullshit anyway, because honestly, anybody that wrote those or actually authored those books did not live back when the creation happened. So how could anybody that wrote those or authored those books know anything about what creation, how it was made?
So how do we know now?
Exactly.
So how do we know that Anunnaki is real?
Huh?
How do we know they're bending time? How do we know they're making portals? How do we know anything? We don't. We're taking great guesses.
Okay, put it this way. I'll throw a conspiracy theory at you.
Well, hold on.
All that stuff that was built back in the day, like the megalithic buildings and stuff, was actually built by time travelers from the future.
Okay.
They went back into the future because we knew we were running out of land to grow any food, and the only place that has the most real estate is in the past.
Okay, well, this is what I'm saying right now. We're gonna watch some more of this video, then we can discuss some more craziness on this Conspiracy Wednesday. What's that like? I'm open to everything. I don't give a shit.
Off of your planet.
Yeah.
This created something called space refugees. Nobody's talking about this.
Where are you getting this information again? Where is
the
this?
Mahabharata, the Bhagavad Gita, the Indian Vedas?
So these are ancient Indian texts.
That's right.
5,000 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the Enuma Elish.
I just want to let you
Sumerian.
know. And I want to get to this, but for this entire episode, we're not fact checking.
Okay.
Okay. We're not debating. We're not pushing it. Take us down the rabbit hole. We want to see how deep it goes.
The people can listen to what I'm saying and they can go look all of it up.
Fuck them. Take us down the rabbit hole.
I'm taking you, man.
Okay, let's go.
So we're talking about
we're
talking about the evidence, the very first evidence of space refugees.
So you're seeing this in these ancient Indian texts.
Yeah.
Okay. You come across this and you're like, okay, let me see if there's some truth to this because I'm seeing this across multiple ancient Indian texts.
Right.
Any other text referencing this?
The Terra Papers, an ancient indigenous American text as well.
Okay.
Very little known text that hardly anyone talks about. The Hopi tribe elders have written this book based on that text and published it actually. It's called the Terra Paper, so that it wasn't just in indigenous lore, but it made it finally to publishing. So it's actual text that we can all read and get access to. It reads like the Star Wars movie. Just take out the love stories and all that. And what's interesting is it talks about, again, these same galactic wars going on. People fleeing from that region of space, looking for other planets, Orion, Aldebaran, Sirius A, B, and C, which we know the Dogon talk about people coming from Sirius B, which was a star that ran out of fuel, and of course Earth. And they came here to create a breakaway civilization. Just like if there was a war, and there was in our solar system, that's what we call Mars, the god of war. We're going to be like, we got to get off this planet because the debris is going to destroy us.
So we're the product of pussy aliens, basically, like aliens who weren't ready to bang and fight for their future and their freedom. They just ran. We're defectors.
They were the elites that had the access to the ships that can take them from one star to another.
So are they like the politicians that didn't go to Vietnam?
Right. Exactly.
Got it. So we're the product of rich, privileged kids.
They're the guys with the $10,000 suits that just sent everyone out to die.
They would be protesting at Columbia, right?
Correct.
Got it. Okay, good. Got it. Okay,
that's who these people are. And so some of them came to Earth. And so Anunnaki is a general term. It doesn't mean one race. It's just like if all of us here got in a spaceship and flew to Mars and we met a Martian and he said, "Who are you guys?" We'd say Earthlings.
Got it. But they maybe would call us Anunnaki.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm Billy Carson from Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah.
Right. So they would get they're Earthlings. That's one term, but we're all different races here.
Right.
So, but Anunnaki is a term to say those who came from heaven to earth. That's it. In Africa, they call it the Nituru, which means the same exact thing. The gods that came from heaven to earth and turned mud into a kingdom. Now, the civilization they built is the Atlantean civilization.
So this is where we hear about Atlantis, the mythology of Atlantis.
Right.
Got it. Okay.
They built the Atlantis.
And where's the evidence for this? Where do you read about that?
Well, if you look in the text, a lot of the Indian texts, the Vedas, the Mahabharata, the Bhagavad Gita, the ancient lore of the indigenous aboriginals, the Terra Papers, the Enuma Elish, the Epic of Atrahasis, the Code of Hammurabi, the Myth of Etana. There's so many tablets. I can just keep going down.
Everybody's referencing the Atlantean civilization.
Yeah.
Obviously, the most popular one was it Plato's uncle or something like that?
Plato. Plato wrote about this.
Oh, he did?
Yes, he did. Yes,
Okay. Got it.
And so, you start looking at this information. That was more recent. I mean, when I say recent, it's not as ancient. But the account of Plato's account of Atlantis is not that ancient. But we're talking about the ring city, but that was just one capital. So that ring city that was being described is one capital of dozens that existed on Earth at the same time.
Do we know where these other ones might be? Is there any remnants?
They were on every continent, every single continent. We're standing on Atlantis right now. We're sitting right on top of Atlantis.
It was New York.
Yes, everyone on this planet is on top of Atlantis. So when you start to look at the Americas, you discover that there were so many pyramids in the Americas. There were literally thousands of them. What happened to them? The Catholic Church blew up the tops of these pyramids and built churches on top of them.
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Come on,
Fucking
bro.
Mark, bro.
Yeah.
Hold on.
I was raised Catholic. They never told us that.
No, they won't tell you that.
Give me a sip.
That is great.
Mayo, were you taught that the Catholics blew up the tops of the pyramids, sir?
There was a star fort down here, a star formation fort down here in Florida that was built on top of ancient buildings. And there's also like even some of the other government buildings were built right on top of them. There's also been Egyptian hieroglyphs found in the Grand Canyon and in Australia. How would you explain that?
People travel.
Yeah, but how did they travel all the way across here from like in a damn grass boat?
In a boat that was made by wood, just like everyone else traveled. You know they had boats then, right?
Yeah.
And you can travel wherever they wanted to go. And they didn't have to tell someone that they were leaving. They just moved across land, across oceans all the time. That the thing about humans that we're natural explorers. Go ahead.
There's a problem with shit scratched in the rock anyway. It can be done at any time.
That's true too. Aliens gave them the explosives to do it, Mama. Mama, you ain't shit. What is going on? Okay, well let's continue on. I didn't know Catholics be blowing up buildings and shit, dog. That's new to me.
What, Catholics blowing up buildings? Look at Ireland. Good Lord.
Well, that was Protestants versus that was different though.
That was Catholics blowing up Protestants, sir.
I know. That's what I just said.
It's to change history, to manipulate history, so you don't know your actual roots, your actual history, because they got a narrative. They want to actually control your mind. That's the real battle, is for the mind. If your mind is controlled, everything else follows behind.
Okay. Free Palestine. Yeah.
It's time to get going.
They didn't tell you guys a lot of stuff.
Hold on. So break this down. Right. There were pyramids everywhere.
Yeah.
How do the Catholics find out about it? Are they reading the ancient texts?
Oh no, they just know we gotta eradicate this civilization science because we want to impose our will on the people. See, the Catholic Church went through something called the Inquisitions.
Yes.
It was the papal Inquisitions where they went around the planet and they killed and tortured and murdered 80 million people to convert them into Christianity. And
Got it.
So it wasn't spread like they tell you in church. The gospel means the good news. It was really bad news when these people showed up. It would be like America showing up to your country and you have oil buried in the ground.
Really?
It's bad.
Wow. So they were like giving women fucking rights and shit. Letting them read. Ridiculous. Absurd.
They have.
What the fuck is wrong with these people, man?
If you go to the museum in Rome, you'll find they still have the torture tools there in the museum.
I will say that nigga's hair, that nigga's side, his motherfucking fade is trash. Boy, god damn. And who wear long ass Nike socks like that? Half high Nike socks. That motherfucker is a goddamn serial killer.
I can't believe that nigga talking about the Black Panther story. That was crazy. That was crazy. The MU knockers, nigga, and the goddamn Namor and all that shit there, bro. The nigga Atlantis and all that there. That's okay. I ain't know that shit was true.
Okay.
They're proud of it. They have the Pope's spear. The Pope's spear, which went up in a woman's vagina.
I saw that one.
Pop them open from the inside.
Good.
They had a spire that they would lower a man down onto a spire through his butthole over and over again, up and down until he died.
Damn, no Diddy, bro.
For real. They just had all these torture mechanisms. And what they would do is get the leader, the king, the chief, the guy who does all the sage and all that stuff. The medicine man. And then they would say, look, we need to convert everyone into this. And if you don't, then we're going to kill you.
You're going to fuck you from the inside out. Yeah,
exactly.
Damn.
So they would make everyone.
Who would do the fucking? Because I feel like that would be against Catholicism.
It would be one of these people from their church system and be, hey,
so there was a fucker. There was a guy who would.
There was a guy he'd connect you and get you lined up perfectly.
Yeah.
And and do that. Sick people, but they.
Do what you gotta do. All right?
That's wild.
You gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta spread the gospel.
You gotta spread the gospel. It is a good word.
Under the order of Rome.
Yeah.
And but the thing Rome said was, look, we got to get this money.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is we're going to convert our pagan system into a Christian system. We're going to combine the two together. That's why we have all these fake holidays that are all pagan holidays in Christianity.
That's my man Constantine, right?
Yeah, Constantine. They just combined it all together. Now we got the taxes and we got the offerings.
Yeah.
We got both. And now we got the people unified. And now we can put our boot on everybody's neck. And so once they reeled up the leader of that village or that town and killed him like that, and everyone saw it, it was like, okay, I'm ready to learn now.
Damn.
Teach me your language. Talk to me about your God. By the second, third generation, you're born. You're given a name, a race, and a religion, and you don't even know who you are.
Wow. So do you know which church in America or which churches are on old pyramids?
Oh, no. You just have to go out there. See, anything on, most of the older ones that are on hills with the triptych windows. The triptych windows are the same windows that mimic the three windows that you see in a lot of the pyramids, like in Chichen Itza, Yucatan Peninsula, and all of that. Those older ones, if you go to Mexico City, how I learned this, I went to Mexico City. I got a homegrown archaeologist. He started showing me all the hills and all the.
First off, this nigga said homegrown archaeologist. Anarchy, you can't tell me you believe that part right there.
He just digging in his backyard.
What are you talking about?
The three windows. You can't believe that.
You have to actually look at the foundations of the buildings. All right, even like you see, like even what is it, the wall over here in Israel, whatever, the Great Wall, whatever, the one where all the Jews sit there and pray to and all that stuff. If you look at the foundation, these things are actually megalithic blocks that are like, hundreds of tons. How in the hell did this thing get there? And they just built on top of it. It's the same thing with Rome. None of those buildings are actually built on foundations that they put there. Those foundations were already there. They just built on top of it. It's the same thing that they did here in the U.S. It's like a lot of the forts and a lot of the government buildings that from the beginning were built on top of foundations that were already here. Okay. And the triple windows and stuff. This is just symbology. This is just symbology that they use when it comes down to it.
That's why I said I don't believe that part.
It's just symbology, you know. It's a cult. All of it is. All religion is a cult. All right, this is all nothing but it's a belief system, because all this stuff. The same thing with government and religion. They're exactly the same. It's a belief system. It's a religion. All right, because it has its own language, its own belief system, its own enforcement. All right, that's what they're doing. That they're trying to control your mind and control history, so you don't know where you come from, don't know anything about our past. You know, that's why archaeologists, like I said, it's all about money when it comes down to the archaeologists, mainstream archaeology. You know, they don't want you to actually know the truth. There's a lot of stuff that gets hidden away, kind of like that damn Raiders of the Lost Ark shit. They just shove it in a damn room somewhere and never sees the light of day. You know, because they don't want you to know the truth. They don't want you to understand where we come from as a people, as people on this planet. You know what I mean? Because honestly, like when it comes down to the symbology of the Bible, in a sense, yeah, God and aliens, or God and the fallen ones, they're all aliens. All right, they're aliens because they're not of this planet. They were not from this planet in the first place. They came here and genetically enhanced the beings that were already here with their own DNA and created what we are now. That's why we have their part genetics in our bodies now. Now, the ones that are the pure bloods, like you were talking about the Navajo Indians, they're the closest blood related to the Anunnaki. All right? See, the Anunnaki created the Nephilim. The Nephilim were just the children of the Anunnaki that actually bred with the beings, females that were already here, and created the Nephilim.
I have
The
a question.
Nephilim were considered the giants of the back in the day, which never died off. They're still here. They survived the so-called flood.
Sir, you just blew my fucking mind. This nigga said that these Indians are the closest things to
blood related.
The ones that died from smallpox blankets, right? Okay. All right, if you
I
want
thought you get stronger as you. That's what they said, but I guess that was science was wrong again.
Well, according to documents of the U.S. military, when we went into Iraq, we found supposedly. Now, if you believe in all this other stuff, now I don't know for sure because I wasn't there. I wasn't there. They believe they found the body of Gilgamesh. Now, if you read the story of the Gilgamesh, you know, which was a Nephilim, which is a half god.
You're gonna have to ask Illuminate on that one because he was there when they pulled it out.
Who was?
What was his name? I just said
I got a question, Tom.
Illuminate.
I got a question.
Yeah. Go ahead, sir.
I got a question. So the people that taught us how to make beer can't drink beer themselves?
No, I didn't say that. They taught us the technology on how to do it. We didn't know how to do it back then.
They can't handle alcohol themselves.
I didn't say that. And I'm not assuming they can't. Because if they know how to make it, I'm sure they know how to drink it.
Good.
That's only an assumption right there.
Good answer, sir. I have a question, sir. Do you believe in gargoyles?
Well, I don't believe in gargoyles because I don't know. I've never seen one personally. I just know that there's a lot of buildings that from in the past that had depictions of gargoyles, and there was a whole mythology behind gargoyles, you know. And you think about it, like also, you know, you look at past mythology, you know, what was it, Medusa, that actually just by the gaze of her look and gazing into her eyes, you would turn to stone. What if? Now, this is just a what if. What if gargoyles were actually living beings at one time that were actually turned to stone? You know, it's the same kind of thing as like a petrified wood. What is the conditions and time limit that it takes to actually take wood into stone? You know what I mean? Because it does happen. You know.
All right. Well, let's continue.
This is an organic matter that turned to stone over however long and whatever conditions.
You're right.
And,
old churches. He said those were all pyramids.
So it's wild. Like when you go to the Mexico City pyramid specifically, they show you what it looked like before and what it looked like after. You can never look at a hill again,
right,
and not think it's a pyramid after you go see it.
Fact.
It's so if go look at it, you can see not Chichen Itza.
Yeah, that's the triptych. Yes.
Ah, wow.
At the top of all Catholic churches, the older ones, they all have that triptych design. And most of the ones that are old in the 1800s built on those hills were
go to the
pyramids.
Mexico City pyramids and do it before excavation. Because what happens is grass just starts to grow on them.
Yes.
So they just start to look like terrain. And
hills.
Yeah, they just
big
look like
ass
hills. And people have all these like explanations for it. Like my tour guide, look at that. So like if you just saw that, like that black and white picture to the right there.
Yeah.
Tell me that you would never look at that and assume pyramid.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Wow. So now I have to look at every fucking hill and go, should we dig this thing up? And see? And some of them are just hills.
Yeah, some are just hills, but some are these.
Right? Got it.
So when the Anunnaki came to Earth, were there already Homo sapiens here?
Yes, good question. There were already not Homo sapiens, but hominids.
No, there weren't.
Our cousins.
Bad question.
They were Homo erectus. They were our cousins. Yeah, they were. But I believe that they were more intelligent than us spiritually.
So
not
is it fair to say that the aliens were the first ones to smash monkeys?
No, they didn't do the monkeys. We were right? Because when we were here, they didn't call us apes. They called us beings.
Yeah.
And in the Epic of Atrahasis, there was this big war getting ready to happen. And Enki and Lil and Anu were in this place in South Africa called Adam's Calendar, where they found the very first gold mines that human beings were working underneath their boot. Anyway, so the Ijiji, who were the working class Anunnaki, came from Mars to Earth to go to war against them because they felt like they were being enslaved, even though they weren't supposed to be slaves. They were just working class people. They felt like they were doing too much labor. For 250,000 years, they were working.
Whoa.
And they came to Earth and they encircled the campus and they said, we're going to go to war. And it was like, well, why? And they were like, well, we've been asking you for relief. The workload is too heavy, and we don't have any women. So
that's a big issue.
They were complaining about no women, literally in the ancient tablets. And so Enki says,
they need a king of diamonds, bro.
Yeah, what were they saying? What were they saying?
Enki says, I have an idea. Because they had kind of discussed in a weird way fashioning people. That means like robotics.
Okay.
But they had talked about their home planet. When they tried that, it failed. So that's a clue as to what AI and robotics can do to a planet. They were like, there's an existing being here, though, that we can add our essence to, talking about genetic modification, and get them to bear your load.
So don't make robots, make people that can do your work for you.
Exactly.
Whoa.
Yes.
Wow.
So they started with that method first.
So they're just forcing human beings to do their work for them.
Yes.
That's crazy.
And that's how they bring them the offerings.
Yeah.
When you bring the offerings, your best harvest and your fresh calves, that's their meat. That's their food.
This is what you see in the biblical text.
They're eating. That's their meals. They're not going to go out and hunt. I mean, this archaeologist was talking to me in Egypt in 2014. He was just laughing. He was showing me one of the altars. He said, these people were so dumb. He just said his own people. He says they would line up in ancient times for miles to bring their best offerings to the head god. Wow. And the god was just putting them all this food in the storehouses. And he showed the storehouses were inside these temples. They would put these things in there. Then they had these other areas underneath the temple where other priests would go underneath and speak, and it would resonate their voice. And it would be the voice of God talking. And it was all this, nothing but a sham to get them to bring all this food and gold and offerings and everything else.
I mean, I do believe that, because if you go to Chichen Itza, you can have the limestone creates this like a vibration effect.
Yeah.
And you can have like a conversation, like me and you can talk to one another across a football field.
Yes.
Like this.
Oh, wow. Yeah. The sound bounces.
It's crazy.
Comes right back at you.
Yeah. So if they were using that as some sort of a technological advantage, like some Wizard of Oz shit.
Yeah.
Whoa. So were they literally eating, or were they eating off like the energy of the sacrifice?
Or
no,
they
they were eating the food. They were barbecuing.
What about sacrifices? What about they had a cookout? They were barbecuing. There's the aliens. Yeah. Eating oxtail and
Frank's
shit.
Red Hot.
Someone sacrifice some more hot sauce.
I mean, think about it. I mean, if you were the ruler of a planet,
Billy, I think you might be putting on what you would do in that situation. Is that possible?
No,
That's what the Middle East best
I'm
food.
telling you, these people ate the food because I take tours to Egypt all the time. Last year, I took 140 people on a private tour.
Yeah.
And when I go, I take a homegrown Egyptologist and a homegrown guide with us. And he takes us to the temples where they actually have the, where they actually have the storehouses.
He's getting hungry. Billy's getting hungry.
It's like that damn barbecue. Hey, man. So, listen.
Okay, so go. So you're there. But they take you to all the different spots.
So we take you to the temples and we show you where they would hide the food, where they take all the offerings and where they would store it.
Yeah.
It was their grocery store, literally.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Is Jesus part alien?
I believe so.
And was he part alien and trying to do good?
Yes, I believe so.
So he was breaking away. He was using his power, and he's like, "Yo, what these aliens are doing to us is fucked up.
Right.
We need to break free from that, and I'm going to liberate the people."
Yeah. So you have to understand. You're right on point. There's good and evil in
Jesus
everything.
is the man, bro.
Yeah, it's good and evil in everything.
We're all part alien at this point, right?
Absolutely. It's in our DNA.
Oh, fuck. I thought he was a little bit more.
Well, he was more. He was a little bit more, yes.
How was he a little bit more?
Well, if you look at the Apocrypha text, you discover that not only was Jesus's mom a virgin birth, but his grandmother was also a virgin birth.
Sir, the reason why I sent you the $5 earlier is because old dude going to jail for 500 years. That's why. And for murder. We had that $5 bet on that one.
Oh, okay. Well, you're just gonna send it back to me then. I didn't know. I thought you just mistakenly sent me some money because of the game. I was like, well, shit, let me make sure I send this nigga back his money with his $5. I take it back though. Appreciate you. You're a good man. I just show you how good I am.
All right.
Nobody ever talks about that in church, and they hear about that in Sunday school.
Wait a minute. So his grandma. So wow.
Yeah. So you see this establishment of this particular bloodline.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he comes through the womb and then begins to regain all of his own memories, right? So he is a reincarnation of himself from a previous lifetime.
Oof.
That's why sometimes I hypothesize that he could be Thoth the Atlantean, who says that he could incarnate on and in any plane he desires. Could he have decided now to come back through the womb?
So Thoth the Atlantean was the king of the Atlantean Empire.
Yeah, he was one of them.
Or one of the leaders of the Atlantean Empire. He is
Yeah.
reincarnating inside Jesus.
Yeah.
And why has he chosen to help the people instead of enslave us like he did in the
Good
past?
question. When you look at the ancient text where Jesus gets all of his information from,
Yeah.
the Emerald Tablets of Thoth.
We need to talk about that on
Right.
the tablets, bro.
38,000-year-old text. In there, in the book that I wrote about it, I line up the Christian text and I line up Jesus's text from the New Testament.
This is going to seem really ignorant. People were writing shit down 36,000 years ago?
Thoth authored these tablets himself. He actually wrote, he didn't have a scribe. A lot of the times these God figures or these leaders would have scribes.
Right.
He actually wrote it down himself. He actually put it onto these tablets.
And what is he writing in? What language?
Well, it looked like the language was runes, R-U-N-E-S, okay? And in this text, he writes about coming to this planet after the Great Flood and seeing the temples of ancient Kemet sticking up out of the mud and actually going on a mission to help rebuild civilization. Not that it was for the first time, but he's rebuilding it to a high level.
So it was already built, destroyed. He's like, hey, let's run it back again.
Right. His father sends him on a mission. His father says, go to the land of Chem and do the plan that ye know of. So he gets his crew and he gets into the great ship of the master and he takes off until the planet disappears. This
Which
is an
is the
ancient text.
horizon.
Right. He's up in the sky.
Oh, he's coming from...
He's in a ship that goes up.
Gotcha.
Because you know this, because when he gets over the land of Chem, he goes, I see the land of Chem beneath us. And I see the temples rising up out of the mud that were flooded by the fountains.
Now we come back.
Now he comes down to the ground.
The fountains is the Great Flood.
Right.
Got it. Okay.
He opens the door. He comes out and he calls these people barbarians coming to attack him. Probably territorial.
Crazy.
And he says, I raised my staff and sent out a ray of vibration, stopping them still as fragments of stone of the mountain. So now he's got a stun gun that can freeze them in their tracks.
That's fire.
That's technology.
That-
Now we have something.
So is the spaceship. But
Right.
yeah.
All right, we're gonna have to end it there. It's 11:03, and I'm getting my ass to bed today. This was interesting. This was interesting. Mayo, I'm coming to you first, good sir. If you're still there,
Yes, sir. I'm here.
do you have questions, comments, or concerns?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
How many shrooms they take?
I don't fucking know. Dog. God damn. I want what the fuck they on, god damn it, because they on some shit right now. John the Baptist. Oh, he ain't there. OG?
I don't believe in it, and I'm gonna stick to my own product. That's too strong for me.
I guess John the Baptist went to sleep. Anarchy
Because he's saying a prayer for all us, Tom.
That's a fact. What last words and comments, man? Because we getting up out of here at a decent time today.
I will say this: when it comes down to when he was talking about the starfaring people that came here again, I know that is one of the things that did happen, because they used the beings once they that were here as the labor to mine gold. All right, where do you think the value of gold came from? All right, why do you think gold was coveted for thousands of years? Is because these beings used the peoples to mine it for them. That's the reason why we were basically a product of that. We're just the labor force in a sense. And the reason why we're actually trying to go through to invent AI systems and robotics and cybernetics is because we're not easily controlled anymore without just wiping everything clean and starting over. So they need to actually have another labor force. That's why they're trying this now. That's why the elites that are part of this, that have communications with these beings, are trying to actually convert their consciousness into a robotic body so they can live and rule forever. This is all been the plan from the beginning for thousands of years. All right. And then this is the reason why we got to actually come together as a people and go against this shit. This shit is nothing but a big plantation, a big, huge plantation worldwide. All right. And we need to actually come out of her, my people, as they say. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But, hey, much love to all y'all. Good night.
Yes, sir. This was fun. I like this. It was fun.
Hey, Tom, where can I take my gold to cash in for everlasting life?
I don't know, because Jesus is only taking 500,000 people.
I don't believe nothing of that. And the gold was easily, people went for gold because it deposits itself. That's
okay. Well, we need LA. You have the last say since John the Baptist sleep. LA, come back to the light, LA land. Lamario. Oh, he sleep too.
Lamarian.
He's a Lamarian, sir.
He's a Lamarian.
Yeah. He came from that land in between Europe and the East Coast.
Yeah, some shit like that. Well, anyway, I wanted to put it up there. It's a 3-0 lead for the Boston Celtics. I told this nigga that Dallas was Triz ass. Where Tip at?
I couldn't tell you.
That nigga went in hiding. That nigga ain't came up here in the last 3 games. Just came up here. Why he ain't here, OG?
Hey man, we disappointed in our team. The structure is all wrong. They playing the way we coaching, dog. We screaming at each other. Nigga said you putting the wrong nigga in. Get that sorry ass nigga out of it.
They ain't praying the right crystals.
Yeah, exactly, Mayo. They need to hire Beam to come down and, you know what I'm saying, hey, teach them boys something. Teach them what to go dig for.
I didn't know the Celtics was the #1 team in the league.
Yeah,
What
they
did
had the oh
I
shit.
know they had a good
What?
season, but I didn't know they was #1.
Well, they had this since last year. I mean, even though they went against the Jokic and them and all that shit there, bro. That them niggas still won that bitch, but them niggas still had the best record. They still had the best some of the best defense. Their defense ain't really that good. I still think Anthony Edwards and them had the best defense. It's just Luka, the offense is a little bit better. Right now, they just getting toe up because of stupid ass mistakes and not hustling enough. You know what I'm saying? Not going around screens and shit.
So they
These
tied.
niggas no, them European players like Luka, this is what I told them about the Mavericks, bro. I like the way Luka play. I like all that shit, bro. Kyrie, same way. When you're an offensive threat like that, just only built on offense, your defense is subpar. You don't like to do some things. Like Kyrie is too small enough to go around these big dudes, even if he go over the top of the screen. But Luka, he has a problem with that. And it's because of his size, but then he plays this European ball where he get mad because other people don't do it. Like you ever notice he'll start pointing at a nigga when they switching because they know what this the game, how the game go. It ain't like you come down and dribble no more. You play to play, to set a pick, to switch on who you want to so you can go to the hole with. And Luka is very good at that, man. Opposite reverse, oh, bro, they tear his ass up because he don't like to switch. He don't like to go around people. He want to go through the top. And with these big niggas throwing that leg out there and putting that big ass, oh yeah, you can't do that no more. You got to be fast.
Well, I just want to let you know that Larry Bird has always been the GOAT.
No, that's a lie. Yeah, you need to stop on that.
When we get this sweet,
let me tell you something. Look, let me tell you something about Larry Bird. Who was Larry Bird's one of Larry Bird's biggest fans?
Me.
No, wrong. Who was one of Larry Bird's biggest fans? His own mother. And who did she say was better than Larry Bird?
Jordan.
No.
I don't know. I'm talking
his rival, bro. Magic Johnson.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I remember
documented. It's on video, sir.
Yeah,
she told that nigga you the best.
Yeah.
So stop it.
Here's the problem. No one cares about that old woman. She just a hater that he was a better shooter than Magic Johnson. Stop it. Magic Johnson trash.
Yeah, player.
Hey, Bird ain't that age. So
shit. Let me tell you something about Larry Bird. Nigga, I got him on the hat and we getting this sweep. That's all I want you to know, nigga.
Yeah,
we bringing the brooms out.
You can have them. You can have the broom. They get that gentleman. So it's gonna look bad for the Mavericks, but hey, we'll come together next year.
Was that one more game, Tom? One more game?
One more.
Yeah, one more game, Mayo. They out of there. They out of there. History is gonna be made. God damn it.
Absolutely, they better do that. What is that? What a Cavalier shit.
No, the NBA is gonna have a talk with the refs.
No, that ain't gonna happen.
The game's gonna be close, but the Mavericks gonna pull it off. The next 2 games, because the NBA wants to make their money.
Yeah, they ain't gonna get no money out no sweep, dog.
Nope.
They ain't gonna make no money out no sweep, dog.
Nope.
It's gonna at least go to game 5.
Oh, they will make some money off the sweep.
Nah, the NBA ain't gonna make no money off a sweep. No.
Mm-hmm.
They make more money off game 7s than they do anything else.
I get it, but I get what y'all saying. And that goes to one of my points, bro. I think the referees be cheating, but I don't think them niggas gonna be able to do it. I think they are.
Hey, $5, OG. Mavericks win the next one.
Mayo, I'm already down enough money. I gotta come up. I gotta win some more shit, doing some other shit. Then I can start betting again. I'm out of there.
He said I'm out of there.
I'm taking all my damn money.
I ain't taking all the shit. I gave you $5 a day. We had a watch.
I just gave you $5 on a murder conviction.
And I'm saving that so I ain't got to spend it on next game.
Hey, this was a good fucking stream. You got Kingdom Mind that came with the good shit. And then we got Artie coming with the crazy shit. And then somehow I found that shit. I don't even know how the fuck I found that shit. That was just, yeah. I listen, I watched the whole video for y'all, so don't worry about it. I was waiting on LA to go a little crazy with it, but he didn't. He bounced out on me.
I felt
Hey,
sleep.
fun fact, people, if you want to go check what OG was talking about earlier, so you won't think that OG crazy, my weed logic is off. I'll put the link in the back. You can just click on it. It'll take you straight to how pyramids are made.
Oh, well, I ain't worried how pyramids. I don't even care. I think there's been better structures than stupid ass pyramids. Motherfuckers get in awe about a pyramid, but not in awe about shit that is like. Never mind.
Oh, you wait till I find that what you call it on the hardest material. Oh, I'm putting that in the back check just for him. It's going to explain a lot. I want to see how you what the fuck that shit is. He fucking me up with that shit. Reverse engineer something that you can't get into. That's crazy, dog.
Yeah,
Well, you know what I see with a lot of this stuff now is I see a link to Scientology beliefs.
Well, I don't think Scientology believe about Anunnaki.
They believe that aliens and spirits and spaceships.
They all believe in that shit. But yeah, Conscious Pyramid is so fucking primitive that it's just I just don't understand the
and every hill ain't a pyramid.
Yeah. So let me give y'all a reference. You ever, and this is gonna be crazy, and this is off a movie. Hate to do this, but you ever think of Thor's hammer? How strong that motherfucker was, and the metal it was made out of. Not just the powers that motherfucker had, but you know when it landed on Earth, you know what they try to do? Exactly what that dude said they was gonna do. Reverse engineer that shit. And what they found is they couldn't cut it. We didn't have nothing that was strong enough to do nothing to it. That's what's gonna happen, bro, when something like that comes here. If you got to think about it, bro. I'm
agreeing with you. I'm already agreeing with you on that
if
part.
If your planet is 200 times the gravity of whatever we is over here, don't you think the material is going to be denser than anything we have here?
Absolutely.
So if they had a diamond on 200 times gravity and it came here to the Earth, how would you be able to cut that diamond and shape that diamond?
It would cut through the entire Earth.
Yeah, I just don't see it happening. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I don't. It is what it is. But thank y'all for being here. This was a very good Conspiracy Wednesday where we saw a lot of wacky shit, heard a lot of wacky shit, and yeah, I kind of changed my beliefs on dinosaurs just a tad bit, not much, but I can concede some things that a preacher actually made sense. And we up out here. Y'all ain't gonna hear that shit no more. So y'all might as well take a snapshot. I goddamn screenshot or whatever the fuck. What is it called? Clip that shit because it ain't gonna never be said again. I'm telling you that right now. And we out here. Peace.